NewstalkSTL. News, analysis, and opinion. Reporting.
All of this energy making it to the East Coast.
This is where the center of that storm is now.
And precise analysis.
That's the biggest controlling factor in how many hurricanes.
Hurricane season. Stream Fox Weather now for every moment.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. I'm Ted Lindner on the Fox News Rundown. President Biden going to be heading to the hard-hit region of Fort Myers, Florida later today. He'll be taking a helicopter tour of the damage and then speak to residents about how the hurricane has impacted their lives. The state's continuing to struggle to get out from under the debris and damage done by Hurricane Ian. About 300,000 customers still have no power. Several barrier islands are cut off from the mainland. Many people are still missing. The governor, Ron DeSantis, saying, though, that crews have been doing a tremendous job of search and rescue, and we'll have full coverage for you of the president's visit later today. I'm Ted Lindner on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I think they're trying to attack the American people.
Live and local.
Gabe, Mike, Ken, you guys are my morning cup of mental coffee. I love the show. Definitely a convert from the old one.
This is News Talk STL.
The St. Louis Young Republicans and 1019 94.1 News Talk STL is proud to present the Freedom Fest Barbecue, Sunday, October 9th. Tim Jones and I will be emceeing the luncheon at the St. Louis County GOP headquarters. Adult tickets are $30, student tickets are $20, and kid tickets are $5. We will have special guests like Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, State Senator Bill Eigel, and more. Stand against tyranny, strengthen the conservative movement, and enjoy tasty eats at the Freedom Fest Barbecue. For more information, visit NewstalkSTL.com.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
For all the women listening right now, I want you to picture a financial advisor. What do you see? It's an old guy in a suit, isn't it? Now, you and your husband, you're meeting with said advisor. Who's he talking to? Him. That's the problem. Deanna Orff of the All Financial Group has seen this failure in the financial industry for years, and she's doing something about it. Join Deanna Tuesday, October 18th for an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's time to talk about your 401k, your business, and your concerns about retirement. 92% of women say they want to know more about financial planning, and this could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event is on October 18th. It's free, but you need to make a reservation today. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services are offered through All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license number 803-9738.
The candidates.
We're going to win this campaign.
The issues.
Gas prices, Biden inflation.
The election news, analysis, and opinion you won't get anywhere else. Decision 2022 happens.
There's a backlash coming
on News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, no question there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. On this Wednesday, Donald Trump is suing CNN for $1 gazillion, defamation. The network certainly defamed him, but Mr. Trump will not prevail because he'll have to show direct damages, and that will be hard to do. In England, the former president might win because the bar is a lot lower over there, but in America, with the press constitutionally protected, I do not believe Donald Trump will win his lawsuit. So why is he doing this? Have to guess, and I don't like to do that, but the lawsuit will fire up the MAGA base and reinforce Trump's status as an avenger. Also, another hate Trump book is out this week, and the best defense is a good offense. Attacking CNN might drain some attention away from the book written by New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman. Incredibly, Haberman was granted 3 interviews by Donald Trump, even though she has pounded him for 6 years. So why would Trump give her any access at all? Well, it's the celebrity thing that I write about in Killing the Legends. Donald Trump likes attention, even if it hurts him. All in all, this lawsuit will take years unless it's thrown out, and the winners will be the lawyers, as they usually are. Back after this. I am excited about a new streaming platform called VidGo. VidGo gives you the freedom to be entertained at a price you can afford. VidGo has all of my favorite live sports networks. They have a great choice of news. All of that for $59 a month. You deserve the freedom to be entertained at a price you and your family can afford. Please go to vidgo, vidgo.com/bill to check it out. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
Cool and dry this morning under partly cloudy skies. Definitely going to see an increase in cloud cover today, but the rain chance is very low. It's going to be a warmer day with a high near 80 degrees this afternoon, probably about 79. Down into the 50s tonight as the clouds clear out for tomorrow morning. 79 for the high on Thursday, but a cool front moves through late Thursday and drops that temperature for Friday and the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
News, analysis, opinion. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewstalkSTL.
Slippery slope or natural progression, since our country has decided that marriage is between 2 men and 2 women, just like between a man and a woman. Well, that's what the law says, at least. I'm just saying. So should that be expanded to include 3 or more people? A little bit later on this morning, I'll tell you why I'm bringing that up, because you know what? That question is before some courts. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thank you for making News Talk STL part of your morning. We had a chance to talk to Mark Mantovani on Tuesday's program and got an update on his campaign for St. Louis County Executive. Here's what he had to say. You're a businessman, and we know how bad businesses have been hurting over the last year and a half, 2 years. If you're elected, what changes when it comes to economic development, attracting businesses, making the environment as friendly to businesses as possible, which obviously another word for businesses is jobs. What changes under a Mantovani administration?
Well, thanks for having me on. Big topic, because many things that the county executive and the county government touch affect perspectives, perceptions, and the substance of doing business in St. Louis County. St. Louis County over the last couple of decades has developed a reputation that it is not friendly to businesses, and there are a number of reasons why that is so. It is perceived as a place where there is a lot of red tape to do business. There are situations where there's doubling up of licensing requirements. There's a lack of coordination with municipalities on zoning issues. The county government itself has not always remembered, I think, that it is in the service business. Some of the offices that engage, connect, touch businesses have developed a reputation for being less than cooperative with businesses in terms of things like the hours that they're open, the procedures for doing business with them, alike. And so the first thing we have to do is remember we're in the service business and we're trying to serve the residents and the businesses of St. Louis County like any other business would, I think. Secondly, we, of course, have to make certain that our tax base is fair and perceived as such, and that it's fairly administered. I regularly hear criticisms of the real estate tax situation with respect to assessments, particularly of commercial properties, that are perceived as being aggressive, unfair, and the like. Thirdly, we have got to recognize that staffing, as you suggested, Mike, is an important consideration for businesses. When I was running my business, we had a real challenge always of identifying, hiring technologists and the like. As a region, this transcends just St. Louis County. As a region, we've got to make it clear that developing technologists and young professionals to service our growing business organizations is more of a priority. These things are doable. Many communities across the country have done these kinds of things. We have to get more effective at retaining our young people in town so our labor pool is perceived as appropriate. So I think that the question is a good one, and it requires a change in mindset across the board. You know, businesses drive the economic standing of a lot of lives, and there is no reason why government can't collaborate and support business organizations in their attempts to grow. That's really what creates a dynamic region.
Good morning, Mark. Gabe Pfeiffer here. In addition to the importance of setting that environment, that business environment, I think crime is one of those contributors to that. And St. Louis County's increasing crime is a problem. And it's gone so far as to have the St. Charles County executive call for major changes to alleviate the crime that seems to be encroaching from the city. What's your plan for the county to reduce our crime problem?
Well, first of all, you're exactly right. With respect to economic opportunity in the region and growth, crime has to be dealt with. One of my frustrations, guys, is that the current county executive has not even addressed the reality of a growing crime rate in the community and the perception that people have here. I mean, my friends and neighbors feel unsafe, and so consequently, that causes us to lose population, and businesses either leave or they don't want to invest here. They don't want to move here. So we've got to have an aggressive crime plan. I find it's if it wasn't so serious, it would almost be laughable. People in the St. Louis area somehow or other think that crime is almost an unmanageable challenge. And, you know, if you look around the country, almost every major metropolitan area in America has a crime plan that they have developed locally and that they're trying to execute. We seem to be sitting on our hands in this area, which makes me crazy. All right, so look, the very first thing that I would focus on as county executive is the development of a crime plan. Now, I have some ideas about this, but this has got to be a community-wide kind of a plan. I can propose a plan that involves short-term intermediation of trying to get bad actors off the street, But I've got to engage with the police on that. You have to engage with the community. The clergy can be a big help, as they have been in other communities around the country. You've got to engage with businesses because you've got to get you've got to get economic opportunity in order to give people an option relative to moving their life in a different direction. The best programs, the ones that I like the best, are built sort of along the model of what was called Operation Ceasefire, which was a Boston initiative in the early part of the 2000s. Oakland's done a similar program. And basically, what these programs involve is getting into the neighborhoods and working with community leaders to identify who the likely bad actors are. And then intermediation between the police and the community with respect to those people, and say, basically, look, your days of engaging in violent activity are over. Now you've got two choices. You can either deal with the prospects of incarceration. We'll get you off the streets if we have to. Or we're going to give you an option to turn your life around. That's why businesses are important, because you offer people the opportunity to straighten their lives out, to get some training, to maybe get a job after their training and the like. And they get to make a choice, right, as to whether or not how their life is going to go. You engage with the feds on some of the enforcement, on some of this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of programs built along a similar model to that have been reasonably successful in other communities. What we've got to do is we've got to have a plan, darn it, and work the thing in order to demonstrate to the community that we're serious about this and to get these bad actors off the street. Then, the whole thing around longer-term initiatives is also right. There is truth to the statement that people turn to crime because they're desperate, because they don't see economic opportunity. And so you have to deal with the long-term initiative as well as creating a growing economy and growing opportunities. But the very first thing you got to do is you got to get the bad actors off the street.
Good morning, Mark. We're talking to Mark Mantovani, candidate for St. Louis County Executive. Mark, there are a fair amount of people listening right now and who are in St. Louis who are independent. Are there, Democrats wanting to lean away from Sam Page? If there's one message you want to deliver to them right now, what would that be?
Well, look, I think that if you're an honest broker and you look at the last 4 years of St. Louis County government, you have to agree that it is characterized by chaos within the county government. The county executive's interactions with the council have been wholly ineffective. He has had to be forced to do the right thing over and over, forced by the courts, with respect to seating of the chair, with respect to his second job. The voters had to engage with respect to paying Tim Fitch's pension. So there's just been chaos. The relationship between the executive and legislative branches has been wholly dysfunctional. So I think that is an example of failed leadership of a person who doesn't understand how to work with others and for the common good. There have also been examples of corruption and the like, but all of these things are important to me because they are preventing us from dealing with the fundamental challenges of our community, which are crime, as we talked about, and the lack of economic development and the like. And so I recognize that there is some confusion about the fact that I ran as a Democrat and I'm running as a Republican. The fact is that all I care about is St. Louis. This should not be a question about parties. These should be nonpartisan offices, as they are in most communities around America. But if we don't take this opportunity to get our community on the right track, we're going to continue to be passed up by all of those other places, Midwestern communities around us, Kansas City and Indianapolis and Nashville. And I'm just tired of it. There is no reason why St. Louis can't be in the vanguard of Midwestern communities that are growing and succeeding. The reason we're not doing this is because our leadership has been substandard, and I think I've got a different approach, and I think we can do some good if the community will think broader and allow a different kind of leadership.
Your morning news roundup starts in about 4 minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Columbo and Katie.
New York Governor Hochul said a federal solution is needed to address an influx of migrants being bussed into the state. We'll talk about this on Columbo and Katie and catch up with Mark Close.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-649-8619. 800-649-8619. 800-649-8619. That's 800-649-8619.
News and talk
219 Democrats voted to defund the police.
that matters to St. Louis.
And take away resources from law enforcement.
News, analysis, opinion.
A plan for a new direction.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Oh, man. Lots to talk about today, as always. Good thing there's lots to talk about because this is a talk show. So,
That's really good.
It's very convenient.
Beneficial to us.
Unfortunately, there are things that could really get your blood pressure up just a little bit. So take your meds in the morning like I just did. Here's a few of them. Readjust your budget. Gas prices are creeping up and likely to continue to go up in the coming weeks. We're going to get to that in just a moment on it because I got the numbers on that. Also, we're going to bring you a firsthand account of what's happening at the southern border. We're going to do that around 7:35 with our friends from the Daily Signal. And Cori Bush, did you hear this? Cori Bush triples down on her hatred of police on national television. Apparently, that's how she thinks she's going to sell books.
Yeah, they're ready to change words again.
Oh, for God's sake. Yeah. 6:35 is when we're going to have that conversation. Somebody actually tweeted at me last night and said, "Oh, my goodness, did you see this?" And it was the clip of audio I'm about to play. And I went, yep, there it is. There it is. In a very bizarre way, she is so fringe and so out of touch that she actually says what the rest of them are thinking.
Yeah.
and it is absolutely gross. So we'll prove it to you. 6:35. All right. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 5:50. That's Ken Williams over there. Let's see here. Let's start with Florida. Florida is struggling to get out from under the debris and the damage done by Hurricane Ian. Here's the thing is in addition to the initial flooding that was brought on directly by the hurricane, now what's happening is there is a second round of flooding because all that water's going into rivers and creeks and other things, and it's got to come out somewhere before it makes its way back to the ocean. So now, like north of Orlando and other places are experiencing delayed onset flooding, if you will. So it's continuing to affect more people at this point. 300,000 customers as of early this morning, as of about 2 hours ago, still have no power throughout the state of Florida. Several what they call barrier islands cut off from the mainland because the bridges were damaged or destroyed. The state's director of emergency management, his name is Kevin Guthrie. He says one of the things that's really helping is people from around the entire country have made it to Florida to help out.
We have people from all over the country here helping us today and through as long as we need it.
And President Biden's going to be there today. I don't know how much help that's going to be, but one of the things that this does affect us, and so we need to be more patient, is, for instance, my wife and I need something done with an electric wire at our house. And Ameren, who's never easy to deal with, let's be really honest. If you've dealt with Ameren, they're not easy to deal with on the best of circumstances. They're finding any reason to kick this down the road, and we're like, but we really need this. We have a wire that's very low, that kind of stuff. Well, they've got crews down in Florida. Almost every electric company, this is what happens on these massive national disasters, is that they send crews, co-ops send crews, and so you may not get your stuff done as fast from companies like Ameren right now. Deal with it. That's just the way it is right now because they're doing something more important. And when the contractor we were talking to reminded us of that, I remember my wife and I were like, oh, yeah, those people needed a whole lot more than us. We'll deal with our wire that's low hanging in the backyard.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways it just affects us right now. We tend to forget that sometimes. Let's see here. A lot of people aren't remembering that the special session continues in Jefferson City after they had a big 2-week hullabaloo that delivered basically nothing for taxpayers. They did pass some tax credits and tax incentives for the agriculture industry. That is going to have incentives, financial incentives for meat processing, urban farming, and also going to have tax breaks for buying farm equipment. The Senate passed that bill 26-3 during the special session. He is going to sign it. They're going to have a press conference for it at 10:15 and probably try to brag about what a great job they've done for all of us taxpayers on here. So remember that those of us who just regular taxpayers, we were told we were getting a tax cut. We got less than 1% reduction that's going to be phased in and no increase to the standard deduction. So big deal. Congratulations. You got your corporate welfare for the ag industry.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened. And I know I'm a conservative talk show host, and I'm supposed to be like, oh, yeah, go Republicans. Everything they do is great. Let's not call balls and strikes. Call them balls and strikes. We would have been better off without this special session.
The Republicans as a group need to get their stuff together.
Precisely. Yeah, that, and I know, and I got some friends who are angry, that I say stuff like this. It's election year, man. Take it easy on us. We can do it after. No. This was
precisely the time to do it.
Yeah, this was a waste of time. This entire special session was a waste of time.
Yeah, and the people need to elect conservatives if they want to get this agenda passed through.
Yeah.
So this is the time. The election season is the time to remind people.
Yeah, frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
And
aggravates me. I mean, it has to aggravate everybody else.
If the Missouri Republican Party were serious about delivering us noticeable, tangible tax cuts that we would feel, they could have done it.
They could have.
They just chose not to.
Right.
Yeah, there were plenty of people fighting for it. Yeah, Nick Schroer and Tony Lovasco and Andrew Koenig and Bob Onder and Bill Eigel and Sarah Walsh and Rick Bratton and there's a lot of people who were fighting really hard, but the majority of the Republicans in the state Senate in particular just simply weren't interested in delivering a tax cut. They're very interested in taking credit for a tax cut on the election campaign trail.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't actually want to deliver a real one to us. So they
say we when it's a cut.
Right. Yeah. They here's a few crumbs. Here's a few morsels. But boy, aren't you excited about that steak dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. All right, White House continuing to come under scrutiny for gas prices that are creeping up right now. Fox News' Kevin Cork reports.
What a difference a few months really make. President Biden was quick to claim responsibility for falling gas prices after a summer of pain at the pump. But as many states are once again seeing soaring prices, the White House is saying we're not to blame. AAA's national average sits just north of $3.80 a gallon. Californians are getting pummeled, averaging over $6.40 a gallon, rising more than $1 just last month. Louisiana's John Kennedy adding this on Twitter: gas prices are on the rise again as America's oil reserve is at a low.
Just in case you were wondering, the average gas price in Missouri is $3.40 right now. In Illinois, it is $4.33. National average, $3.83 compared to January of 2021, where it was $2.39, so about $1.50 higher than it was in January of 2021.
The moment it came down and we found out the reason why was because he was using strategic oil reserves, we said it's going to go back up.
Yeah, everybody.
I mean, this is a long time ago.
Absolutely. We all saw this coming. Update to a story we talked about yesterday. Historic Scott Joplin house was broken into, which really is disgusting. The arrest was made. We now know who is charged. His name is Kevin Lee Daly Bay, and he's now charged with burglary and property damage. Brian Stith from Missouri State Parks Department, he's the deputy director, gave this kind of description of what the damage was to KMOV.
We found a lot of broken furniture, just things thrown about the historic apartment, the offices. There were items thrown out the window.
So frustrating.
Just
so
why?
Frustrating.
I mean, it's
I don't know. There's no explanation.
Not making any money on it,
and you can't replace this stuff. That's the thing, is you just can't replace this stuff. All right, Cardinals beat the Pirates in 10 innings yesterday. Final score was 8-7. The last game of the regular season starts this afternoon at 3:05. This is actually a makeup rain-out game from before.
And the win that they had last night, they fought for it hard.
Right.
And that's what I want to see, because this game meant nothing.
Nothing. And today's game means even less than nothing.
Right, but they fought for it, and that's what I want to see, because we're coming into a big playoffs right away.
That's right, starting on Friday. So today's game, it starts at like 3:05. So the game means nothing. Sorry, Ken, you're probably going to see the Bat Boy batting 6th.
Okay.
Equipment manager probably batting 8th or 9th.
They need a break to get ready, get fired up.
Yeah, Philadelphia Phillies in town on Friday to start the playoffs. Okay, a lot going on here. A local city hall decides to spend a lot of money honoring itself. Yeah, you're going to love this one. On 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent. We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
KBOY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. If you think gas prices are high now, just wait. OPEC and its allies, Russia among them, are talking about driving pump prices even higher by cutting oil output. The White House response? It's Vladimir Putin's fault. Team Biden once again blaming Putin's war in Ukraine for our pain at the pump. The national average price of gas up 2.5 cents since yesterday, now stands at $3.83 a gallon, according to the AAA. The Auto Club says regional differences in gas prices are stark, with prices on the West Coast hitting $6 a gallon and higher, while Texas and Gulf Coast states have prices dipping below $3 in some areas. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen accusing Vladimir Putin of using energy to threaten Europe.
Putin has launched Russia's first mobilization since World War II, treating hundreds of thousands of young Russians as cannon fodder. He uses sham referenda in an illegal attempt to change international borders by force. And since many months, he is using energy as a weapon.
Energy that Europe gladly purchased before Putin invaded Ukraine. President Biden travels to hurricane-damaged Florida today. He'll get updates on storm recovery.
Several days after Hurricane Ian came ashore in southwest Florida, hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses are still without power. The devastating storm is responsible for dozens of deaths and massive destruction. White House officials say the president will reaffirm his commitment to supporting the people of Florida.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. Twitter shares skyrocketed yesterday on word that Elon Musk's $44 billion deal to buy the social media platform is back on. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures down 225 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, Dennis Prager here with some information on a new product that's quite fascinating for staying healthy, Cofix RX. Everybody's been in the situation the person next to you is sniffling or even coughing. Wouldn't it be great if you had a way to minimize airborne viral threats? To reduce your chance of getting hurt, you wear a safety belt when you're driving, and to limit sun damage, you wear sunscreen on the beach. Cofix is just like that. Cofix is a povidone iodine-based antiviral nasal spray that helps keep you protected from airborne viruses. With Cofix RX nasal spray, you'll target colds, flus, and other viruses right where they breed, in your nasal cavity. Cofix RX should be in everyone's pocket, purse, or medicine cabinet. Visit CofixRx, that's COFIXRX.com, for a doctor, pharmacy, or health food retailer near you, or use the coupon code Prager for 20% off at CofixRx.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Still pretty quiet, but we already have some road work to tell you about. 270 eastbound at West Florissant. They've got the right lane closed already. 367 northbound at New Jamestown. Right lane is closed. Just slow down a little bit through there. Otherwise, things are all right. This report is sponsored by the USA Network and Sci-Fi. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cool and dry this morning under partly cloudy skies. Definitely going to see an increase in cloud cover today, but the rain chance is very low. It's going to be a warmer day with a high near 80 degrees this afternoon, probably about 79. Down into the 50s tonight as the clouds clear out for tomorrow morning. 79 for the high on Thursday, but a cool front moves through late Thursday and drops that temperature for Friday and the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by House Sold Easy. Looking to sell a house fast? Call David today at 314-293-3000. That's David with House Sold Easy at 314-293-3000.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need, encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now, George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state Senate. And George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL.
Our responsibility.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To provide updated guidance.
At 1019, 941, and NewstalkSTL.com. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
Okay, hold on, folks. About a half an hour from right now, Cori Bush done it again. She triples, is this quadruple? Maybe this is quintupling down on how much she hates law enforcement. She does this one on national TV. I'll just let you hear from the gentlewoman from Missouri at 6:35.
What a horrible woman she is.
Yeah, really. Yes. I mean, yes.
Are you
yes.
quoting someone?
I'm quoting someone. Said about Nancy Pelosi, but I think it also applies here.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
Yep. And at 6:20, let's talk about this. Looks like Elon Musk actually is going to buy Twitter after all.
I saw this.
Yeah.
And Twitter was a Twitter about it.
That's right. So 6:20, we'll get into that. Real quick here, there was no more vandalism of a historic cemetery that happened here in the last couple days in the area. This happened up in North St. Louis County. It's called the Greenwood Cemetery in Hillsdale. Looks like a couple of teenagers, 2 or 3 teenagers, went through, set fire to benches, knocking over headstones, just breaking stuff and vandalizing it. 2 teenagers now charged with a crime. This is the historic Greenwood Cemetery in Hillsdale. This is traditionally has been a cemetery for North County black residents. And this, I mean, we talk historic. I mean, this goes back to 1876. Nobody's been buried there since 1993.
Wow.
So this is really just a preservation sort of cemetery there. It is the oldest, one of the oldest cemeteries for black Americans in the region. Almost 32 acres. Former slaves are buried there, obviously historic figures, war veterans dating back to the Civil War. Dred Scott's wife, Harriet Robinson Scott, is buried there. Now, I don't think any of those headstones were actually damaged, but so a couple of stupid kids goes through and just starts knocking over and damaging, stuff in this cemetery. And I don't know why. I mean, I know they're stupid kids, but man, this makes me mad.
I've never understood the whole vandalism as just something to do when you're a kid thing.
No.
Like it
didn't
never
cross
really,
my mind.
Yeah, it's like
No.
I don't get where do you? What is it about your background that makes you think that that's something good to do? Like I don't get it.
I think it's an overflow of energy for some kids because they need to be occupied in other things and they don't get it from whomever. It might be their parents or
so the idle hands.
Exactly.
Idea, right?
Idle hands of the devil's workshop.
Because I was playing ball year round and then playing other sports year round. And I was so tired. I got home from school. I wasn't thinking about vandalizing anything except my bed.
Yeah. So if you want to help, there's actually a way to do it. GreenwoodSTL.org is the website for the cemetery, and it's basically a preservation society is essentially what it is. And so this is going to cost some money to do this. So if you want to help that, you can go to greenwoodstl.org and make a donation if you would like. Just want to put that out there. Just irritates the crap out of me. Okay, get this. Fox 2's, oh my goodness. Fox 2 report. This is great. Elliot does this, because it's your money.
Yeah.
Love those reports. But get this. In Jennings, they've got a lot of controversy happening in Jennings. City Hall says we need to build a new city hall. It's going to cost about $14 million. The residents say, hey, we don't want to spend the money on that. And so you've got that. But that's a fair discussion.
Sure.
That there's nothing wrong with that discussion. There are people who have said, you know what, instead of building a $14 million brand new city hall, and by the way, $14 million for a city hall, operating city hall is about right, I would think. That's not outrageous. But Jennings isn't exactly flush with cash. It's not a particularly affluent area, and I don't think I'm hurting anybody's feelings when I point that out, okay? But get this, there are citizens now who are they are petitioning, they're getting a petition ready to demand a state audit. They're demanding that the auditor's office send in somebody and look through all the books of City Hall.
Really?
Yeah, now this is actually part of state law. You can do this. If you get enough people who are residents of your city, you can automatically trigger the state auditor coming in and auditing all the books, and there's nothing that the local entity can do about it. So if they get enough signatures, City Hall has to turn over all their books by Missouri law, and the state auditor's office will go through. Now, the state auditor is not a law enforcement agency, but they will go through and submit their reports.
Yeah.
And if they find anything criminal, then they can refer it to somebody else. But the folks, some folks, including at least one of the aldermen, are now saying we need to audit these books. One of the cases in point for this is they've got a city park and a basketball court there, and they spent $13,000 on a granite monument to the current mayor.
No.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Imagine signing off on the authorization of a monument to yourself.
To yourself. I am not making this up.
It sounds kind of cool if it was your own money, but I mean,
I think that would make it worse. I would think.
Well, if it's your own money, though, you want to be remembered.
Hey, I consider my house a monument, a current monument to myself, so I spend money on it, but I'm not using taxpayer dollars to put up a statue. I mean, I'm a cool guy, but I mean, it's like, but a statue of myself at like my workplace or something. That sounds
okay. So here's the
ladies and gentlemen, let's and then have an unveiling
fanfare.
So do you have like walk up music when you go to dinner? It's like Jenna says, hey Gabe, dinner's ready, and do you have like walk up music and you walk in like you're the champ? Okay. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. So. Go to Fox 2's website. Elliot Davis does this. So because Elliot Davis did the report, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. And the actual monument itself, I just brought it up and trying not to get the autoplay on there, but the actual monument itself is right next to the basketball court. And it says, first of all, it's got an engraved, etched picture of her face on the monument. I'm not kidding. I swear to God, I'm not kidding on this. And it reads, Honorable Yolanda Austin Basketball Court, August 26, 2019. You can do it if you play hard. That's a quote from Mayor Yolanda Austin that's on there next to the basketball court. So literally she named something after herself and spent $13,000 on a monument with her picture and a quote from it.
From herself.
Yes.
What did she put on it?
Read that quote again.
The quote, it's in quotes, it says, you can do it if you try hard.
Okay, she could have had it sponsored by Nike and say, just do it.
Just do it. Have Nike spend $13,000. She's still the mayor.
This literally sounds like a plot off of a sitcom.
I know.
About city government, doesn't it? And like a Michael
Parks
Scott
and Rec
kind of
I was
character.
gonna say Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec is that or The Office, basically the government version. Michael Scott's like, oh yeah, I want a monument to myself or my FBI alter ego or something. I mean, really, it's ridiculous.
One of the ballparks that we play in my leagues is out in Fairview Heights. It's we call it Longacre, but it's Moody Park, and there's a very nice monument to a former mayor there that was set up. That kind of the field is dedicated to him, but it was set up long after he was in office.
Yeah.
Because he did all this stuff with kids and youth sports and everything. So like, hey, this is a good guy. We're going to give him a tribute. He didn't do it himself.
Right. I mean, when you name things after people, usually, unless it's a business that you're building, usually it's based on someone of the past that most people agree on did good stuff.
Yeah.
and was like, okay, we want to honor this person, or maybe they have a foundation that donated the money to put it up. So it's like, this is the so and so family memorial library at the university,
school of whatever,
yeah, exactly,
like the Trudy Bush Valentine School of Nursing at
exactly, because they donated
all the money.
My dad's been going for a really long time now, about 25 years or so. But back in the day, and I don't know if it's still there, but at Melville High School, when I was playing baseball there, he was a welder, and he built, along with friends of his, the big batting cage I had.
Oh, nice.
And they put a little plaque there with his name on it and their names on it. That's something
Absolutely.
you're contributing.
After the fact.
Yeah, after the fact. This was
he didn't put the monument there while he was...
No, he passed, and then they had a plaque.
Yeah.
It may be gone.
That's the way it's supposed to go.
Yolanda Austin is still the mayor.
It's just...
Yeah.
I don't.
So literally,
I can't.
she signed off honoring herself and spent 13... And that was, for a lot of the people... Look at the story from Elliot Davis on Channel 2's website. And they were like, all right, we're done, basically. We're done with this.
The quote isn't even that good.
No, it's terrible quotes.
No, just do it. Just do it.
Just if you could do it, if you try hard. I mean,
swish.
It's so pedestrian.
Yeah.
Is that the word I'm going for? It feels pedestrian.
I mean, that sounds like
So
that
Kamala.
sounds like the self-help. The
very Kamala.
the self-help lecturer who can't make it to the big time and is at the Holiday Inn conference room. I mean, that's like, you can do it. Just try.
You can do it if you try, and
Buy
if you
into
try and do it, then you will be able to do it.
Such inspire, much wow.
All right, just ahead here. Let's see here. Twitter. Elon Musk decides he's going to buy it after all. Got the update. What's it mean to us? I don't know, but we'll find out. We'll start that conversation at 6:20 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Twitter's getting a little musky.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We've had a car that is burned up northbound on 170 at the ramp from eastbound and westbound 64. So it's affecting and slowing traffic from both directions on 64 to northbound 170. Fire crews on the scene. That vehicle was fully involved. I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the very latest total traffic.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Do you have a property that is more hassle than is worth? Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a property and you want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. Do you own an ugly property, a behind on mortgage payment property, a lazy tenant that won't pay rent property, a too much junk and clutter property, or even a, hey, I'm curious about a fair cash offer property? Well, don't worry. I buy them all, and I want to make you a fair cash offer. Call me at 314-293-3000.
Start a podcast for your business today with Epic STL Podcast. Engage existing and potential customers, build trust in your brand, and drive traffic to your business. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Pablo Cruz, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player, and Walter Egan with Sail On 2022. Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
All right, you feel good tonight?
They're back, cocked and loaded. The Family Arena presents 38 Special with special guests Molly Hatchet and Black Oak, Arkansas. Saturday, November 19th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.com. Presented by the Family Arena.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. Say what you want about Joe Biden, but he's a versatile guy, a real Renaissance man. You may not have heard, but the kid from Scranton didn't just develop gills to deal with those airborne oil slicks that used to beset his mom's windshield, and later take down notorious bad dude Corn Pop. He was also sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community, That is, when he wasn't busy attending shul and helping thwart the gangs in Wilmington. You think I'm kidding? All of which helped prepare him for his varied career choices, from driving a school bus and an 18-wheeler, to working in the coal mines, to practicing law, right on up to the U.S. Senate, all by the age of 29. It's hard to know how he found the time to march in the civil rights movement. No joke. And let's not forget that he's a world traveler, having ridden 1.5 million miles on Amtrak and gone 17,000 miles with Xi Jinping through the foothills of the Himalayas. Plus, he'll have you know, he got shot at in Iraq and arrested in South Africa while trying to see Nelson Mandela. For real. What a storied life our president has lived, and I do mean storied. Of course, you know what they say about a Jack or Joe of all trades.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at NewstalkSTL.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
All right, it's 6:35. Soundbite from Cori Bush, so you know it's going to be something. Democrats are trying to run away from defund the police for obvious reasons. And she flat out on national television explained how they're doing it and why what they're doing is all the same thing as defund the police. I'll let you hear from her directly at 6:35. It's 6:22 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. By the way, 314-912-1019. Always welcome to have your conversations on here as well. Elon Musk, apparently he has changed his mind. He is going to buy Twitter after all. And he is saying, all right, let's do it. After all of the back and forth and the drama in the courtroom and with the lawyers, Fox News' Jeff Paul has more.
Musk is already tweeting about his pending purchase and the very app he's set to soon own. He wrote, quote, "Buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, the everything app." Musk's lawyer confirmed they sent a letter to Twitter explaining Musk's intent to close on the transaction for the original offer. $54.20 a share, in total $44 billion. Now, for months, Musk has been trying to back out of the deal, in part due to his claims that Twitter had misrepresented the amount of fake accounts or bots. Twitter then sued, and a trial was set to start in Delaware very soon, less than 2 weeks.
There is a deposition by Twitter attorneys that's scheduled to happen on Thursday, but if he's buying the whole company for $44 billion, they're not going to go real hard on him.
I'm curious whether or not they actually ended up with the full discovery of the bots, which was what Elon had originally backed out of the deal about. He said that they were not upfront with the number of bots. So I'm wondering if during discovery prior to trial, if they actually had to come up with the number.
I would suspect somebody had to.
You know, and it, you know, if the books basically had to be open prior to trial so that both lawyers could prepare for trial, maybe he got what he wanted.
You know, and that's really a kind of a point that I was going to make, Gabe, in that they opened the books and then he said, and they said, we don't want this to go public. Let's not even go to court, you know?
Yeah, who knows how
I mean, something like that. We don't know the deals, but.
Okay, so how does this change our lives? I mean, Twitter is just one of the threads of society now. As weird as that would have sounded to say 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, it just is. So what do you think the changes are going to be? I think Twitter will get better. Because Twitter, you know, it's what you make of it. It's pretty toxic right there. So I don't think the toxicity is going to go away at
No,
all.
no.
If anything, it'll ramp up because people are going to be free to really say what they want to say on both sides. Whereas right now, just one side is more free to say what they want. So I think that will happen. Now, for people who think that Elon Musk is going to say, okay, it's Wild West, say whatever you want, there will be some guardrails. I don't think he's going to, say everything's okay.
He's already signaled that he's going to start with basically legal definitions of banned aspects of speech as the guardrails that would live within Twitter. So obviously you can't incite violence. You can't. What are the other things? There's the things that you would actually get arrested for,
right?
or at least charged with something. Those are the things you can't do on Twitter. How much further it goes beyond that is the question, because right now, as tech goes, it's much further than that, and it's unequally applied. Whatever the rules are, and the rules are almost kind of unknown because you just kind of get slammed one way or the other. I think if nothing else, fixing that aspect of it will make Twitter a lot better space to deal with.
Without going into too much detail, I actually approached our bosses and the owners of this radio station here about being attacked verbally to the point of it was almost a life and death threat. Mm-hmm. And I asked them about it, and I said, they said, well, they've been blocked, right? And I said, no, they're still there. I mean,
did you block them from seeing?
No,
your
I
stuff?
blocked them.
Yeah.
And I said I'll unblock them if we need to get any more information from from them. And I said no. In fact, I think they could even be one of those groups that work with Twitter. And they're like, well, that's really interesting. So we even called the sheriff and talked to them about it. And the point I'm making here is that for me personally, I think that's going to let up a little bit. That type of attack.
Yes, I think initially, I think it could actually ramp up before it calms down into whatever the new normal is.
Well, you might be right.
Yeah, I think, that's one of the things is that what's the first thing you do when you get newfound freedom is you go try it.
True. And so this person was not blocked at all.
Right.
I would have been. Now you've seen I know, Gabe, you've seen what happens when I like something. Well, this happens every time now. When I like something, the number goes down. When I retweet something, the number does not go up. I mean, I'm being throttled or shit. Something's happening. So hopefully that'll go away. I don't mind the other stuff so much, but when they start to hide my posts and everything, that's when I get a little aggravated.
That's the kind of stuff I think that will stop. Now, here's the thing, is Elon Musk can be the new boss, and I think everybody, whenever he signs the paper and it goes through, everybody's going to expect it's going to be different the next day.
Right.
No. That's not how it works. He's got all of these little wannabe, Twitter tyrants working all the way up and down the company, and it's going to be a while to weed those folks out.
Like a Twitter swamp.
It's like a Twitter swamp. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, and so it's going to be a while before they either get on board or they get out. I think he's going to deal with everything from sabotage to, leaks to, the Daily Beast and some of the other left-wing, media outlets out there.
Oh, the hit pieces are coming.
The hit pieces are coming, and so we know it's going to happen. Is Elon Musk going to turn this into a conservative platform? No, it's not.
No, not at all.
I don't think Elon Musk is particularly conservative. He just happens to be really good on free speech.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't want him to do that.
To turn it into conservative.
Yeah,
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. So I think it'll be just a kind of a free-for-all, and then whatever the organic normal is going to be will settle in over time, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, now he's taking it private, which is kind of the interesting aspect of it. So, he's going to have a lot more direct control, but with direct control comes a lot of responsibility.
So he's going to have to raise money.
He's going to have his hands full. Also, just for he's going to have to replace essentially all of the investor money that's circulating right now in the company. So it's very interesting. I think the most interesting aspect of it to me is this reference that he made in his Twitter post that this is the seeds of X.
Whatever that is.
He said how did he put it? The everything app or something like that. I'm curious as to what the direction is that he's going to take this ultimately. So, I mean, it could be, again, one of those societally transformative sort of things that have, I mean, as much as Twitter has transformed society, maybe this new thing will transform too. I don't know.
And he's also said that he could make it solvent. He can make it a big money maker, more so than it is right now. So
we'll find out.
Yeah.
He's going to have to raise the money somewhere with ads and sponsored posts and all that sort of thing. So it's going to be fascinating. All right, just ahead, Cori Bush. She said stuff. I'll play it for you at 6:35 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Innocence personified, and I will drag you down and sell you out. Run away.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Place to talk.
Because that's where the votes are getting stolen. When you get into the facts and logic and reason thing, it drives me crazy because you're right. I call it the oh my God virus.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. A St. Charles jury recommended the death penalty for Richard Darren Emery for the 2018 murders of his girlfriend, her 2 children, and her mother. The jury deliberated for about 2.5 hours before returning with the sentence. The City of St. Louis Department of Health is hosting 2 new monkeypox vaccine clinics on the 14th and the 15th. So far, there have been 26 confirmed cases in the city and 25 confirmed cases in the county. Tower Grove Park has received a $500,000 grant to refurbish 4 historic Victorian pavilions and is working to raise money to match the grant. The Old Carriage, Humboldt South, Cypress South, and Lily Pond pavilions are expected to be restored. They were all built between 1871 and 1873. A spokesperson for Lambert Airport said they were notified by United Airlines that the planned nonstop flight to San Francisco has been dropped. Lambert said last month that it anticipated that United would be bringing back the San Francisco route early next year. And in sports, the Cardinals beat the Pirates 8-7 in Pittsburgh last night in the 10th inning. Albert Pujols drove in 2 more runs, and reliever Ryan Helsley left in the 8th inning with a jammed right middle finger. The 2 teams play again today in the final game of the regular season. First pitch is at 3:05 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We've had a car burn up this morning on the ramp from westbound 64 to northbound 170. That lane is blocked. It's also obviously slowing traffic from eastbound 64 onto northbound 170 as well. Road work already. The right lane closed 270 eastbound at West Florissant and 170 northbound past Page. This report sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. When your ride fires on all cylinders, so do you. That's why Napa's on a mission to keep you in motion with nearly 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores and over 17,000 Napa Auto Care centers. The Napa Network has everything you need to get up and go. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cool and dry this morning under partly cloudy skies. Definitely going to see an increase in cloud cover today, but the rain chance is very low. It's going to be a warmer day with a high near 80 degrees this afternoon, probably about 79. Down into the 50s tonight as the clouds clear out for tomorrow morning. 79 for the high on Thursday, but a cool front moves through late Thursday and drops that temperature for Friday and the weekend. I'm KMOB First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kenny Zhu, president of Color Us United.
Race became a profitable industry. That's what happened. Racial victimhood. We all believe in civil rights, but then there are people who actually profit off of racial victimhood in this country. Diversity, equity, and inclusion right now, the new hot thing in companies is a 10 billion plus industry.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. As my daughters would say, it's fall, y'all. That means it's the perfect time to call Hanson's. Prime time for Hanson's to come out and do all that fall trimming before winter storms can bring down trees and limbs on the homestead. Get on the Hanson's schedule for winter dormant oil applications to protect your trees from insects taking shelter over the winter, and a perfect time for Hanson's to put you on a preventative plant health care program. Everything you need for winter can be found at Hanson's. Hanson'sTree.com.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at NewstalkSTL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
7:35, 1 hour from right now, we're going to get a first-hand account of what's actually happening at the southern border. Virginia Allen, one of the writers for the Daily Signal. Actually, if you listen to the Daily Signal's podcast, she's actually the producer and host of that. So she's going to be on with us in 60 minutes from right now. It is 6:36. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. So Corey Bush is on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. So if nothing else, you know it's not going to be boring. See, there's a book that's out published. It's called, referred to as a memoir autobiography, supposedly written by Corey Bush.
Oh, gosh.
And so she's doing the tour, and of course, national media just, falls all over her the way they do AOC and some of the others. And George Stephanopoulos actually asked her about the defund the police because she doesn't let up on that. Here's how it went.
And you've stuck by it. In fact, you're one of the few Democrats now who still says, let's defund the police. Are you worried at all that could hurt some of your colleagues going into the midterm elections?
See, the thing about defund the police is we have to tell the entire narrative. People hear defund the police, but you know what they'll say? Say reallocate, say divest, say move. But it's still the same thing. We can't get caught up on the words. People spend more time focusing on the word defund than they spend on caring and addressing the problem of police violence in this country.
Mm-hmm. So she was actually strategically dumb enough to point out that every time her colleagues are saying reallocate or divest, which we all knew, which insults our intelligence anyway, but she just said, well, yeah, we're still defunding the police. We're just calling it different stuff. And so you're caught up on the words, but, we're just saying other stuff, which, yeah, we know that.
We knew that. We kind of guessed.
Right. And so
I don't know. She's a horrible woman. She just really is.
Right after Election Day, should Republicans start mailing her thank you cards?
Yes. Yes, I think
that might be a good idea. Actually,
that would be great.
Right,
and then record her opening them.
So she said, okay, I'm just trying to put it together because you say something that you mean, and then you change the wording to be something else, but you still want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, she's pointing out that her colleagues they're just using different words, but she said it's all the same thing. It's true.
Yep, she called him out.
Okay.
and she made it public. She blew up her own spot, basically. She's politically a dumb on top of being ideologically dumb.
Right. Well, and that's what happens when you represent a district that is custom drawn to make sure you keep getting reelected.
Good point.
I mean, literally that district is drawn to make sure that she gets reelected. And I know that, Andrew Jones is challenging her, and I hope he does really well, but that's why those district lines are where they are.
When we get to interview her, and I know we will, I want to ask her the question. I want to ask her the question. So no matter what I'm going to say to you right now, you still want to defund the police, right?
I actually have interviewed her before.
Did you?
Yeah, when I had my TV show, Missouri Viewpoints.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have interviewed her.
That's when she was the activist exclusively, right?
She was the activist
prior to the political
she was
aspirations.
running for Congress.
Was she running at the time? Okay.
I think this was the first time she ran because Lacey Clay beat her once, and then she beat him the second time.
That's right.
I don't remember. I think it was the first time she was running, and so she was on my set, and she was, it's out there in the interwebs somewhere. But I interviewed her, and I remember at the end of the interview, she walked off, and of course, none of us had any thought that she was going to beat Lacey Clay. That just seemed nuts.
Of course.
And she kind of walked off the set, and we all look around, and we'd usually have the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we're like, man, that was a really good interview and everything. And we just kind of looked around like, man, she's dumb. She's crazy.
Dumb and crazy.
And she is now in Congress, and I don't know how much of an ear she has with Nancy Pelosi at this point. I think she's more of an irritant to Pelosi because she does stuff like this.
Yes. Now, what's worse, dumb and crazy or smart and crazy?
Smart and crazy is worse.
I think so too. Because I think a lot of the people in leadership in the Democrat Party, the ones who are actually making decisions, making things happen, are the smart, crazy ones.
Oh yeah,
and they're dangerous.
Smart and crazy and evil are the worst.
Oh yeah.
Dumb and crazy, you can just kind of point them out.
You can dismiss them and kind of laugh at them, right?
But the thing is that she's got no incentive to rein it in, which is bad for her district, which is bad for Missouri, but it's good for the conservative movement across the country because she's showing up in ads across the United States. And, some Democrat who's just a liberal, not a fringy person, is in a district where a TV ad is going to show up with Cori Bush saying, do you want, this person to have another vote? And it's going to work. It's going to help in a lot of areas.
Absolutely.
We got David on the line.
David, you are on News Talk STL, my friend.
Good morning, gents. How is everyone?
Good morning, Dave.
Good.
Gabe, when I call in, I feel smarter just when I hear your voice. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Hey, this is breaking news on your show. Now, you can do the little but you guys probably didn't know, but Cori Bush is the Lost Clump sister.
The Lost Clump sister.
Okay.
Hey, I have it from a very, very, very reliable source. Matter of fact, I would bet my life on this source. Last year in November, when Cori Bush was up in her district in North St. Louis, she was spotted with not one, not two, but 3 U.S. Capitol police officers. So if you ever get the chance to interview her, nod, nod, wink, wink, there's a question for you. Not to mention all of her private security. I think she's exceeded at least $200,000 in private security. Now, the only problem I have with that is, as a rational person, or fairly rational, you say one thing, but yet you do another.
Right.
Yeah, and you remember the now infamous clip where she basically said, you all need to get over it. I need protection to do the work. We need to defund the police. I think she said what she said.
Suck it up.
Suck it up.
Suck it up.
She said, suck it up. So she probably would not disagree with your assessment. She just says, we got to suck it up because we need to spend money to protect her, but we need to defund the police so nobody else is protected.
Dave, she's importanter than you.
And by the way, we're going to take away guns because, so yeah, this is crazy.
Well, this is the obvious. The only job you have to have zero qualifications for, except for an age, is politicians. Now, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, I know none of us like them, but they do affect our life. Mm-hmm. And, they need to start giving an IQ test. I'm convinced you should take an IQ test to go through the drive-thru at McDonald's, let alone to run for political office.
Yeah, we'd weed out a lot of people. Yeah.
Let me get a. Do you guys have tacos?
Yeah.
Get out of the line.
This is a Wendy's, sir.
It's a Wendy's, sir.
Hey, Dave. Thanks
for. Thanks. Go to Taco Bell. Order pancakes.
There you go.
Yeah, really. Hey, David. Thanks for being on the program. It's interesting in all the years that I've done media. Some of the smartest people I've ever dealt with are politicians. Some of the dumbest people I've ever dealt with are politicians at all levels.
at all levels.
It's kind of an amazing intersection of humanity, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, because depending where you're coming from, I mean, look at Cori Bush. I mean, Lacey Clay is a liberal, without a doubt. He's not as fringy as she is, but he is a liberal. He reflected the left, the leftist community that he was in, but. And he brought stuff back to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he did bring some bacon.
He brought a lot of pork, into the area. But at least he didn't embarrass you the way Cori Bush does.
And Cori Bush, she made national news on Fox News. Chris Arps, our very own Chris Arps, sent me a text just now with a link. It said, "Squad member Cori Bush standing by defunding the police movement despite crime spike," and it's being reported right now. So.
Yeah, which I'm sure the exact clip we just played is probably precisely what they are playing.
Yeah,
on that right now. All right, 314.
And Mike, think about it, guys, for a second. Whenever someone comes in opposition of no, we're not defunding the police, all you have to do is point to Cori Bush.
There you go. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Already a couple of incidents this morning. They're wrapping up with a vehicle fire. It's partly blocking the ramp from 6440 westbound on the northbound 170. That is backing up 40 past Hanley. It's also affecting drivers trying to come on from eastbound 64 a little bit. And we have a crash blocking the two right lanes, 255 northbound at the State Street exit. This report sponsored by InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand's mission is to keep its pets happy and safe with their forever families. Their exclusive technologies make the containment systems the most advanced on the market, giving your pet freedom to enjoy their yard and giving you confidence in their safety. Visit InvisibleFence.com to schedule your free consultation now. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The midterm election. Decision 22 News.
It's going to put some pressure on all of us to up our game.
Decision 22 Analysis.
A midterm election route.
Decision 22 Opinion.
You're going to enter a problem.
Decision 2022 happens on News Talk STL.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Steph's Pizza, legendary St. Louis-style pizza and pasta. Just the name makes your mouth water. Also, for your next get-together, pick up a Steph's Party Platter. And if it's Monday, you get a large pizza for the price of a small. Steph's Pizza in St. Charles County and Chesterfield Valley. Steph's Pizza is always convenient for pickup or delivery. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com. Tonight's a good night for legendary Steph's Pizza.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here of 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Join Chris Arps and I and the St. Louis Young Republicans for the annual Freedom Fest Barbecue. The second annual event will be on Sunday, October the 9th at the St. Louis County GOP headquarters at 11:30 a.m. Special guests, Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, State Senator Bill Eigel, and more. Stand against tyranny, strengthen the conservative movement, enjoy tasty eats at the St. Louis Young Republicans Freedom Fest Barbecue. More information at newstalkstl.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Tim here for Wednesday. Chris, Katie, and I will have Frank Catanzaro of the Young Republicans at 4:25 with the Freedom Fest barbecue. Scott Powell, Hoover Institute on the midterms at 5:25.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Weekdays at 3:30
on News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right, this is going to be one of those, I think, that really brings out some strong feelings. It's 7:05, okay? Judge in New York is looking at a particular case, and he says, you know what the bigger picture is? Well, we've now expanded marriage to not just a man and a woman, but also, two women, two men, as the gay rights, the gay marriage push has been successful essentially across the country. I mean, whether it's on their state's laws, it's recognized. He says, you know what? There's just no reason to arbitrarily keep it at two people. What if there are 3 people or 4 people or more people who decide that they want to create a marital family that way?
Here we go.
So we'll talk about that at 7:05.
There's going to be a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about with that. All right. It is 6:50 right now. That's Gabe Pfeiffer. Got Ken Williams here as well. More history was made in baseball last night. Obviously here, as in the whole country, we are, focused on the fact that Albert Pujols hit he's up to 703 now.
Yes.
703 career regular season homers. I don't know if he's going to play tonight or not. I'll be really, this game means less than nothing to the Cardinals tonight in Pittsburgh. The last regular season home game, I was telling Ken a little bit earlier, I said I wouldn't be surprised if the bat boy is batting 6th. I mean, the equipment manager may be out there in tennis shoes batting 8th. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is one of your players gets hurt.
Right.
So I would not be surprised if you don't recognize any of the names in the lineup, and that's fine. Give everybody a break. They start the playoffs at Busch Stadium on Friday. We don't know a time yet, but it'll be Friday with the Philadelphia Phillies in town.
And in fact, they almost experienced an injury with one of the relief pitchers, the main relief pitcher.
Jammed his finger.
Yeah, jammed his finger. So that's kind of a sign saying it,
Yeah, careful. Careful. Statistics are what they are. They don't mean anything. Your batting average isn't going to go up or down that much. Just let everybody take a breather. Let them stretch. Let them eat, the number 9 combination for the restaurant down the street for a day. Just let them do their thing, and let the guys who don't get to play very much get out there on the field.
So it's basically going to be like a spring training game at the end of the season.
Yes.
Right.
But it's good that we're in that position. I mean, the Pittsburgh Pirates have lost 100 games. When the Cardinals beat them last night, that was their 100th loss of the year.
Wow.
So I suspect almost nobody is going to be in that stadium in Pittsburgh.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
and the Cardinals honestly, I would, just to being a baseball guy, I would question why any of the main starters are out there other than DeYoung. Because he'll be gone next year anyway.
I'm wondering is if maybe Pujols and Yachty and Wainwright, just to see them, have people show up
probably
in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, catch him in warm-ups, because other than that, they're going to be there. Wainwright, watching his back for pranks from Yachty. And
oh, gosh.
And, but Arenado should not be on that field. Goldschmidt should not be on that field. Molina should not be on the field. Pujols should not be on the field. I mean, none of the key starters should be on that field.
They're going to be protected.
They should be. They should be. I mean, you got and I like the matchup with the Phillies. I mean, for the Cardinals, I think this is a good first round opponent. I mean, anything can happen in playoffs. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but I'd much rather have the Phillies than like the Dodgers or somebody like that who's won. God, how many games did the Dodgers win? 109 or something like that? It's just insane.
I don't know, but they lost last night, which was a good sign for me. Yeah. Anytime they lose.
But over in the American League, Aaron Judge. Second, I think it was the second to the last Yankees game of the year. They are in Texas. He had been sitting on the tie. He tied the record of Roger Maris for 61 home runs in a regular season, and then this happened.
High fly ball. Deep left. There it goes. Soaring into history. He's done it. He has done it. 62. Aaron Judge is the American League single-season home run leader. The AL King. Case closed.
Now, this is the American League record because the National League it's 70 with Barry Bonds, and of course Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire hit more than that. However, I agree with Roger Maris Jr., who says Aaron Judge should be considered the single-season home run king because Sosa, McGwire, Bonds were all in the steroid era and they were all juiced.
Yes.
And so I agree with him. I think there should be asterisks by their name. I think the actual record should be considered 62 in Major League Baseball. They're not going to do that. And yes, I know that means I'm discounting what Mark McGwire did, but I'm discounting what Mark McGwire did. I remember he was the first one to get to 62 back in, what was it, 90, was that 98?
Something like that.
98, 99?
99, yeah.
And so everybody went crazy when he hit 62, and now we kind of look back like, maybe we shouldn't have been so excited about that.
I think there's a little bit of, it's not like an open regret, but there's just kind of like this silent, let's not bring it up. It's like he's that relative that you don't talk about.
That's right. Much. It's like, we like him, but if we're going to have friends over for dinner, we're probably going to tell him not to come over. That kind of
exactly.
Or we're going to explain everything to him before they get there.
We're not going to be bragging on him like we did, this kid who graduated from medical school. It's not the same thing.
Right. And so with Judge, 62 is a massive, massive feat. And it's funny because I've already seen like some people like, oh yeah, he must be juiced. Like there's no accusations of that whatsoever. Max Kellerman tried to do that with Pujols, and the whole world was like, show some evidence or shut up.
Albert showed up as big as he is, basically.
Absolutely. He's been like that since,
He might have put on a little weight, but that's like age weight.
Yeah,
you can tell. You can tell.
He is bigger the last couple of years than he was before, but that's because he's 42.
Yes,
and I would argue that he's maybe even a little older than that.
Yeah, he could actually. That is. We don't exactly know how old he is.
Yeah,
but he did put on some weight. It's just kind of in the midsection. It's not in the shoulders and the biceps.
We've all experienced this.
We're all there, dude. I'm there.
Yes.
I'm there.
You're not going to hear a word of criticism from me.
I'm like, it's he's putting the mass to use and hitting the ball really, really far. So it's like, you see him like running around the bases. It's like that's kind of how I would do it right now. I'm like,
got to favor that awesome. Knee and
But the point, but the point is there is zero indication and there is zero evidence and there is zero reason to think there's anything weird about Albert Pujols hitting what he get 24, 25 home runs. That's a good number of home runs, but it's not a league leader or anything like that. So he just had a good final season because some people focus and bear down and just get the job done.
That's right.
If anything, it's proof that he's not taking steroids just by the way he responds to everything.
Yeah.
With a limp here and there,
Well, 22 seasons and you learn to be a clutch player. You learn to deliver. He's the second all-time RBI leader. The guy just had one of the most legendary baseball careers ever.
Yeah.
And we saw the majority of it here in St. Louis. Here's how long he's been in the game. His first home run when he was a St. Louis Cardinal, Old Bush.
Oh,
not even the current Bush.
Prior 06. Huh?
Old Bush. All right, just ahead here. Hey, if marriage can be between any two people, should it be between any three people, four people? A judge is actually considering that question. We'll talk about it at 7:05.
The Marshall Tucker Band, the 50th anniversary tour. This Saturday night at 7, the Family Arena. The Marshall Tucker Band. With Pure Fairy League and Atlanta Rhythm Section. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House box office at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. The Marshall Tucker Band, the 50th anniversary tour.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player. John Ford Coley. Walter Egan. And the Babies with Sail On Tour 2022. Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. That's 800-764-2179.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. They may be political foes, but when it comes to hurricane recovery, it appears that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and President Biden are setting their differences aside. Governor DeSantis says he expects to meet with the president when Mr. Biden visits Florida today.
I think he's going to maybe tour the air. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I know I'm going to have a briefing with him, and we are going to meet.
The audio courtesy WZBN TV. The White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says storm relief and recovery is and should be a nonpartisan issue.
There will be plenty of time to discuss differences between the president and the governor, but now is not the time.
Utility crews working around the clock to restore power to hundreds of thousands of Floridians. Food distribution programs running full bore, and high water rescues continue in still flooded areas. As Vladimir Putin's troops flee advancing Ukrainian forces in areas seized by Russia, they're leaving behind the bodies of their dead comrades and more. Ukrainian police say evidence of atrocities, including torture chambers set up by the Russians, have been discovered. Today, Putin has signed laws formalizing his theft of territory that was taken from Ukraine. When President Biden released oil from the country's Strategic Petroleum Reserve, critics complained it was nothing more than a Band-Aid approach to sky-high gas prices. Well, apparently those critics were right. Prices at the pump have been surging again, and the price spike may accelerate. OPEC and its partners, including Russia, are considering production cuts. The move would certainly send gas prices even higher. AAA's national average for a gallon of regular, $3.83 this morning, but prices on the West Coast, most notably in California, are a good deal higher. Wall Street, Dow futures down 274 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Right at the top of the hour, they cleared a vehicle fire on the ramp from westbound 64 to northbound 170, but you do have residual delays, especially in the right lane on West 64. 255 northbound at State Street, they're clearing up a crash, had some heavy traffic back towards Illinois 15. And 270 northbound at Tesson Ferry, it looks like a stalled vehicle in the center lane. That traffic is at a halt back at I-55. This report sponsored by USA and Sci-Fi. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cool and dry this morning under partly cloudy skies. Definitely going to see an increase in cloud cover today, but the rain chance is very low. It's going to be a warmer day with a high near 80 degrees this afternoon, probably about 79. Down into the 50s tonight as the clouds clear out for tomorrow morning. 79 for the high on Thursday, but a cool front moves through late Thursday and drops that temperature for Friday and the weekend. I'm KMOB First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by The Dental Link. Call Dr. Alan Link today, 314-794-6464 to schedule your free consultation. Offices in Baldwin and Melville, 314-794-6464.
What a great meeting. I loved everything he said. I think we've found our new financial advisor.
I hated him.
What? Why?
He never even looked at me.
It's a story that's been repeated over and over in the financial industry. And it's the reason Deanna Orff at the All Financial Group is so passionate to change it. That's why on October 18th, she's hosting an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's an open forum for you to learn more about markets, investing, and planning for retirement, and a setting where you can ask questions. It's a fact that 90% of women will at some point be solely responsible for their finances. This could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event on October 18th. It's free, but you do need to make a reservation. So call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through All Financial Group LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license 8039738.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
What citizen wouldn't want to make America great again?
Live and local.
And their leadership has been substandard.
I think the word substandard is immensely polite.
This is News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
I found an interesting op-ed at the Washington Stand, which is a fairly new-ish news and commentary source from the Family Research Council. And FRC President Tony Perkins wrote an article called New York Judge, The Time Has Arrived to Legalize Polygamy. So here's the question, because I'm going to go through this a little bit. I actually think this is something that's coming. At least the debate is coming. Illinois, yes. Missouri, probably, lower jurisdictions as well. Should government limit marriage, legal marriage, licensed marriage to just two people? I mean, we've already expanded it from one man and one woman to, two people of any, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a renewed push to say, well, if you recognize that outside of the Judeo-Christian tradition because it's fair and you can't constitutionally or legally deny two men or two women, the right to get married, well, then why would you limit that there? There are people who believe that there are three people in a marriage, especially if you've got a bazillion different genders. You can have one of each.
One day I'm feeling this way.
Right. So if you go to WashingtonStand.com, you can find this right there. Matter of fact, what happened is there's a court case in New York where it has to do with like an apartment and somebody died. A man who was gay died, but his legal spouse lives somewhere else, and he had another man living there with him, and he says, "Well, I'm part of the arrangement, but I wasn't allowed to be part of the marriage because of the laws that limited it to two people." And so the judge, I think, ruled in that guy's favor that he would be allowed to renew the lease as though he were a spouse.
Right.
And because in New York, I mean, when somebody moves out, you can jack up the rent. You know, you just can't raise it a whole lot when they're still there because of rent control laws.
Right.
So there's a lot at stake right there. And in some places, there are actually two cities that I know of, one in Massachusetts and one in California, that took steps to locally recognize multiple polygamous polyamory marriages as well. Now, remember, when the big gay marriage push, which was, gosh, I don't know, 20 years ago?
Easily.
Something like that?
Yeah, a little over that maybe.
There was a lot of gloom and doom, slippery slope arguments happening. So are they happening?
I was one of those slippery slope argument people because primarily the arguments that were presented in favor of the redefinition of marriage was, they were based in, I was like, well, what about somebody who lives with somebody else and, they should be allowed to inherit. They should be allowed to go into the hospital as a family member. They should, basically a lot of contract law type of stuff that is automatic with a marriage license. Is like, well, it should be automatic for all these other people. And there is a kind of legal argument there. And I've actually made that definition, argument as well, that, yeah, there should be some sort of legal arrangement available from a state recognition sort of side. But by redefining the term, you change the game entirely, and you make all of those same arguments that you could make for gay marriage available to every other version of marriage that has existed in human history. So that's kind of where the slippery slope argument came in, and here we have it actually starting to play out.
Yeah, that's what's interesting is at the time, people said, oh, well, if you're going to do this, then you're going to eventually do all these other things. And the proponents of gay marriage are like, oh, stop, well, now they're the ones saying, hey, we did this, so we should be doing this. It's the exact same people. They're saying that.
Yeah. I worked in a Futon store a long time ago, and this was before all this. And the one guy came in and said, listen, my partner has a lot of furniture here, like $3,000 worth of furniture here, and I need to get it out. And I said, well, I need his permission. And he said, well, I'm his partner. And I said, I'm sorry, but by law, I can't give it up to you at all. And I felt bad for him. There was nothing I could do. I mean, I really couldn't. I could have gotten in big trouble if I'd have done that. And he had to walk out, But this whole thing is a even major slippery slope going to happen if you can say, well, yeah, that 15th person over there, that's my other partner.
So let me say something that I think probably will rub some people the wrong way, because I do that sometimes. Can you or should you separate out the religious observance of marriage? I mean, every church I've ever been a member of my entire life recognizes one man, one woman, nothing else. That is, to me, the correct definition of marriage. When it comes to government, though, when it comes to the law, does the government even have any business involved in marriage at all?
No. I think
I'm a little surprised to hear you say that.
As it stands, and this is kind of like the libertarian sort of thing coming out, because I think people ought to be able to arrange their family, however they want.
Or the contracts any way they want.
It's a contract, essentially. People should be allowed to make contracts that recognize rights and responsibilities with any person or number of people that they want. I mean, basically, a company is just a group of people who recognize their rights and responsibilities in relation to one another. I think a family kind of works the same way. It's just that there are things that are recognized historically as automatic, that the government recognizes, like, okay, we understand that because this thing exists, because the marriage pre-exists the government, because that thing exists, we're going to recognize your legal status as it relates to that relationship. So they recognize the automatic inheritance. They recognize the familial relationship, even though, they're not blood family, that kind of stuff. So in the same way, the government should be willing or capable of recognizing all sorts of legal arrangements. But the thing is, the government can't redefine marriage as an institution because government didn't define it in the first place. They didn't make up marriage, so they don't get to define what marriage is.
The first marriage licensing laws in this country, and this is going to be right around the Jim Crow era in this country. Because up until that era, up until the early 1900s, you wrote it in the Bible, the preacher signed it, and you were married. Mm-hmm. Why? Because, everybody saw you got married at the church. Abraham Lincoln and Mary Todd Lincoln didn't have a marriage license. They got married.
And then the government recognized it.
And it was recognized, that was, I remember when Rachel and I went to get our marriage license in Clayton at the county headquarters, and we were laughing, kind of irritated, because both of us have enough of a libertarian streak. I'm like, yep, we're here to ask the government's permission to fortify our love officially in a marriage, But there are arguments now. So now let me go to the other side and just play the arguments here. But the traditional family unit depends on a stable marriage, and that is a foundation, or one of the most important, if not the most important foundation of actual society and culture. And I think that's actually true.
Yes.
So somebody says, well, government has an interest in promoting that. Well, maybe, but does still government, when we look at what happens when we let government take it over from the church, look at where we are now, because with government, you do have to apply the rules equally to everybody. And if you're an adult and you want to make contract arrangements, I don't know that government has any business telling you can't, because the majority of people don't like it.
I imagine part of the problem is that when, once the legal recognition of a marriage kind of came into play, now the government had an interest of putting marriage on all of its documentations. Mm-hmm. And then they started giving benefits or certain recognitions for marriage. So now it's not just it went from being a religious recognition to a government position kind of thing. So now, and that's where where the equality legal argument comes in, because it's like, well, I should be able to be recognized as having rights on some level, right?
Yeah, and with property rights and other things, I mean, tricky, slick. Yeah, it is, but it can be done. Did we make a big mistake when we decided to default to government to regulate marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
314-912-1019. You got some thoughts on this? Maybe we should post this article on our social media. You want to do that, Gabe?
I will do that.
Okay.
It's going to be a paperwork nightmare for the government. When you have 15 people signing up for
That's
marriage.
right. I was thinking about that too. I'm like, okay, what happens to Social Security benefits?
147 beneficiaries.
Right. Yeah. And that's not just Nick Cannon. All right, 314-912-1019. Got some thoughts on this. Should government be involved in regulating or licensing marriage? Tony Perkins from the Federal Family Research Council says they need to get back to only one man, one woman. I don't know. What do you think? We talk about that. Also, gas prices going crazy again, right? Talk about it all on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Starting out with some good news, we cleared two of our major problems, 255 northbound at State Street and 64 westbound ramping under North 170. Earlier incidents were tying up traffic. It's slow on 55 northbound, but typical. Weber up through Gasconade. Add about 6 minutes to your commute. 270 northbound is busy, but it's moving 55 up through Doherty Ferry in Manchester. There are some heavy pockets, but it's not bumper to bumper. This support is sponsored by USA and Sci-Fi, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Do you live in St. Charles County? Then you can get Mid-Rivers News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. Mid-Rivers News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit midriversnewsmagazine.com/subscribe to get a copy delivered to your mailbox. Or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. Mid-Rivers News Magazine. Anybody who wants it, gets it. Anybody who gets it, wants it. Subscribe for free today.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
She's a great conservative author, film producer, Nina May.
And I keep telling my liberal friends, I say, you think you're going to escape this? No, this is exactly what totalitarian governments do. They start with the low-hanging fruit, and then they're going to go after you because they can't trust you. No, we're going to have to line you guys up against the wall and shoot you.
Wow. You have liberal friends?
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Fox News commentary.
This state will be the first in the nation to implement a mandatory climate change curriculum. And I know what you're thinking, but this time it's not California. I'm Tommy Lahren. Find out next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Booth for Bishop Gold Group. Are you worried about your financial future as retirement gets closer? All over the country, soon-to-be retirees are fearing for their financial future as markets remain volatile. Bishop Gold Group helps you invest in gold and gold IRAs to protect your wealth and retirement during times of high inflation and wild swings in the market. Secure your future today. Contact Bishop Gold Group by dialing pound 250 from a mobile phone and say the keyword Bishop Gold or visit bishopgoldgroup.com.
Jersey will be the first state to mandate a climate change curriculum for K-12 students and said to be necessary to prepare for the green economy. Perhaps we should get students proficient at reading, writing, and arithmetic before demanding they learn about climate change. But furthermore, this all feels a lot more political than educational. Something tells me this climate change curriculum is more about leftist agenda pushing than actual science. If they want to teach students about the pitfalls of fossil fuels, they should also mention how many Americans rely on fossil fuels and how many well-paying jobs that industry fosters. And if we want to talk about the economic aspect of climate change, I hope these educators will mention canceling the Keystone Pipeline has done nothing to save the environment or lessen emissions, but it has made us more dependent on foreign energy sources. But I'm guessing that part won't be in the textbooks, huh? I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can listen to all of my hot takes at foxnewscommentary.com.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Okay, 7:35, we're going to get a first-hand account of what's happening at the southern border. Virginia Allen from the Daily Signal going to be with us. She's got a recent article she posted about what she sees at the southern border. So we're going to talk to her. At some point, we're going to get to this gas price thing. They're going up again, and Karina Jean-Pierre was asked about that by Peter Ducey. And I mean, I'll let you hear the audio, but her answer was something along the lines of, nuance and it was kind of that. So we'll get to that in just a minute. All right, it's 7:22. I'm Mike Ferguson with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. All right, interesting one. Tony Perkins from the Family Research Council posted an article at the Washington Stand, WashingtonStand.com. And Gabe, we got that up on our social media now, right?
We do.
So Facebook and Twitter, we've got his article, his op-ed up on that. And he's saying that you've got multiple cities, couple cities now in the country, and a judge in New York now simply saying, well, if marriage needs to be recognized by government by any two people, then why not 3, 4, 5, 6? I mean, why shouldn't we allow multiple marriages or polyamory or polygamy or whatever you call it? And so the question is from a government and a law perspective, is there a reason for government to restrict marriage to two people? Or should government just simply be out of the business of marriage? What's your take on it? 314-912-1019. Rebecca's going to lead this one off. And Rebecca, you're on News Talk STL.
Hi. Whenever you talk about the government getting out of the whole thing, I have heard some years ago that elderly Christian couples were particularly getting married in a religious ceremony, but they were leaving out the legalities and the government because then it didn't affect their benefits. And some people say, well, that's not marriage at all, but if it's recognized in the eyes of God, do you really need the stamp of approval from the government?
I think that's an excellent point, Rebecca.
That's a great little nuance to it.
That's an excellent point. If two of my friends said we're not, and I actually know some people, like we didn't go to the government to get a license, but we went to our church and we got married. In my eyes, if the church, did what they're supposed to do with their faith, I say they're married, whether the government recognizes it or not. And there would be somebody, Rebecca, and I think you bring up seriously, that's a really good point, is that some people would say, well, it's not real unless the government says so. That's a problem with with so much of our society, is unless government endorses it, then it's not real or right or true.
That's
when
gross.
in the other perspective should be, when it comes to things like marriage and family, your basis should not be government or other things. And somebody may even argue those elderly couples you just described, that they're cheating the system. I don't think they are at all.
I don't think so
I
either.
say good for you, Gertrude and Harold or whoever.
Well, they earned their benefits.
Yep.
They worked all their life. They're as worthy of getting them as someone that's, but there again, we're talking a little on the libertarian side, but isn't that really what our government was, our nation really was the pioneers? And from what you said, they had a Bible, they wrote it in, the preachers and all the people in their town knew they were married.
Yeah, precisely. Hey,
That's
Rebecca,
right.
Appreciate you being on the program. I mean, she's just talking about the marriage penalty.
Thanks, Rebecca.
In a little different way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally called the marriage penalty.
That's the reverse argument. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, who we got here?
Yeah, we got Peter back.
All right,
Hey,
Peter.
Peter.
Hey, Peter, you're on News Talk STL. What do you think?
Morning. So, firstly, I think looking at it as from the more conservative side, as the family being the building block of society, in that instance, government has an interest in basically encouraging more marriage and more family, and marriage being between a man and a woman. And traditionally, the definition of marriage has been, one man, one woman, and the primary purpose of marriage was the procreation and education of children.
Yes,
that's all correct.
So I think that with that in mind, government does have an interest to encourage marriage.
Okay, so
I think that's what the tax benefits, and that's why licensing is a thing, and that's originally why it became a thing.
Yeah, so
that they could encourage it.
So here's one of the arguments that we hear from the left on this when that point has been. And by the way, in my personalized marriage is one man and one woman. And to me, that's a separate question as to what the government role is going to be in this. But that's how I look at a legitimate, valid marriage. But somebody, Peter, is going to say, yeah, but you know what? Two men can provide a loving home. We've got tens of thousands of children in foster care. Why should government treat them different?
Because there have been several research there's some research done on it, and I think that argument doesn't necessarily hold water when you look at the psychological effect on children of being raised without a mother and father. Like, there is something lacking there. That's not to say that you can't have, that. I think the Daily Wire had an argument on this the other day that basically that's not to say that, two men couldn't provide something better than the foster system, but that's not the ideal.
Right.
And there is going to be something lacking there.
Yeah, I think even in my household, there are things that my wife supply to my two daughters that I can't, and vice versa. I mean, contributing, I'm saying emotionally and all that.
Right.
Yeah, I think the data pretty much speaks for itself that this traditional two-parent home is the ideal situation for the rearing of children. I mean, all the data says that. So I do agree that the government has a role to play in terms of promoting that. But I think the question then becomes, well, how? And then how far does that go? And where do we put the guardrails up so we don't get what we're getting?
Or do you, in this case, simply allow something outside of the norms, even if it's unstable?
Right. Yes, that's true. From the libertarian standpoint, because, regulating people's behavior is not the role of government.
Right.
So, stuff like that.
Well, I mean, it kind of is. I mean...
Well, yes. I mean...
To a limited degree.
To a limited degree.
And I think with going back to the whole idea of family being the basis of all society, I think they do have a say in how they regulate that. And I think it wouldn't be outside I think if you look at it from a certain point of view, that it wouldn't be even outside of the libertarian view to regulate that.
Interesting stuff.
Because it is so important to society.
All right, I've got an information break I've got to get to. Hey, Peter, really appreciate that. So we had the more libertarian view, had the more conservative view, and you can go to NewstalkSTL on Twitter. You go to NewstalkSTL on Facebook. Keep that conversation going.
Weigh in.
It's right there right now. I'm really curious what everybody says. Eva sent us a tweet saying the stable family unit argument, does government giving permission actually provide a stable base for pretty much anything?
Well,
there you go.
Fair point. All right. Speaking of unstable, how about let's talk about the southern border? Hey, how about that segue?
Hey,
look at that.
Nice.
I am a trained professional. Don't try this at home. We're on your podcast.
Nice.
Virginia Allen from the Daily Signal going to be with us. She's going to give us a firsthand account of what she sees when she is at the southern border. That's coming your way about 7:34 right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Missouri senators yesterday passed $40 million in annual tax breaks for farmers, ranchers, and other agriculture-related businesses as part of a special legislative session. Governor Parson has not indicated when he will sign the bills. The ringleader of a cigarette smuggling operation was sentenced Monday to 4 years in federal prison. Prosecutors said the conspiracy netted him and his brothers $8 million from transporting cheap Missouri cigarettes to places like Chicago and New York City where they have high cigarette taxes. Frontier Airlines announced that it will begin nonstop service to Montego Bay, Jamaica. The discount airline will offer flights from Lambert 3 times a week beginning February 23rd. Rock band Rage Against the Machine has canceled its 2023 North American tour dates, which includes a March 30th show at Enterprise Center. Frontman Zach De La Rocha is recovering from a torn Achilles tendon that saw him performing while seated. And in sports, the Cardinals beat the Pirates 8-7 in Pittsburgh last night in the 10th inning. Albert Pujols drove in 2 more runs, and reliever Ryan Helsley left in the 8th inning with a jammed right middle finger. The two teams play again today in the final game of the regular season. First pitch is at 3:05 p.m. And in preseason hockey, the Blues beat the Wild 4-2 at Enterprise last night. The Blues now head to Columbus to face the Blue Jackets tomorrow night. Puck drop is at 6 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
A very busy morning. First up, you're going to want to avoid southbound 367 between Redmond and 270. It's going to be shut down for a while. That is a very, very serious crash. 367 southbound closed, Redmond to 270. Avoid the area. Eastbound on 70 at Lake St. Louis, we've got a crash that just came in blocking the left lane. That traffic is backing up as well. Other than that, it's just volume. 270 north, pockets, 55 up to Manchester. We got 64 east, a heavy pocket right at Olive, and then it's slowed down a bit, 170 in towards Big Bend, so not terrible. Poplar Street Bridge traffic is just busy rounding the bend. Their support sponsored by Blindster. Save big on new blinds at Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Shop today at Blindster.com. I'm Jill Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cool and dry this morning under partly cloudy skies. Definitely going to see an increase in cloud cover today, but the rain chance is very low. It's going to be a warmer day with a high near 80 degrees this afternoon, probably about 79. Down into the 50s tonight as the clouds clear out for tomorrow morning. 79 for the high on Thursday, but a cool front moves through late Thursday and drops that temperature for Friday and the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need, encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now, George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state Senate, and George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Joe Biden has made Americans poor.
They have no plan to fix all the problems they created.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Election year, we talk about the border a lot. Obviously, hot button election topic. But have you noticed that we tend to talk a lot about the numbers? And we are overwhelmed by the numbers, even when there's a massive human tragedy like, the dozens of illegal immigrants who were trapped inside that 18-wheeler's trailer. It was in some cases the numbers. But it's not just about the numbers. The numbers should tell part of the story of what's happening on a human basis when illegal immigrants come across the border and affect the lives and the communities all over the country. Virginia Allen is with the Daily Signal. If you ever listen to her podcast, you've heard her, and she joins us right now. A new article she's got posted. What I'm seeing on Texas's border with Mexico. And Virginia, appreciate you being on the program here. So let's start with the basics. When you're saying what you're seeing on Texas's border with Mexico, we're talking about a firsthand account we're about to get, right?
That's right. No, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. And that's right. I spent 3 days down on the southern border last week. I was in Del Rio, Eagle Pass, in Kinney County, also visited, hung out outside a migrant processing center in San Antonio for about half a day. And it was really interesting to talk with the folks that are being affected literally on a daily basis by illegal immigration right in their own backyards.
Good morning, Virginia. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So what are the kind of worst experiences that were described to you about what's going on down there?
I think for so many individuals, they're just living in a constant state of fear. It's just always in their mind that, what if today's the day that, for a rancher, if, for example, I visited a ranch owned by former judge of Valverde County, Laura Allen. Her ranch is 16,000 acres, borders Mexico. And she said, every day she just kind of wonders if today's the day that, she'll find a dead body of an illegal migrant on her ranch, or, she won't go anywhere on her property without carrying a gun. And it's because of those safety concerns, because she knows that there are illegal migrants constantly crossing through her property. I spoke with another woman named Teresa Esther, and she lives about a mile from the border in Del Rio. She said her house at night looks like Fort Knox, is the way she described it. She's had to put up so many lights, put up a fence, buy a guard dog, all to try and have some sort of sense of peace in her own home, because, again, there's constantly illegal migrants running down her street, running through her backyard. Border Patrol will chase them through her property. And this is just the reality that these people have come to have to deal with.
Yeah, we talk so much about the policy aspect of it and the politics aspect of it, but when you're talking about a complete stranger, who knows who they are, who knows why they're on the run, running through your backyard, this takes a very different impact to the people who are living this. And when we talk about the policy stuff, we hear a lot about, but these are just asylum seekers. These are peaceful people. People have a right to migrate. When you were talking to the folks on the border, did any of that come up as far as the arguments being made basically for a pro-illegal immigration policy, which is essentially what we have right now?
I asked folks in these counties, I said, is there division among Democrats and Republicans in these communities on what should be done about illegal immigration? And they said, no, down here, everyone's pretty much of the same mind that we need to secure the border. Because like you say, there are obviously many quote unquote good people that are coming across the border, that are seeking asylum, that want a better life. We are a nation of immigrants, and that's a beautiful thing, but there has to be a process in place for that immigration, because if we don't have a border, then are we even a sovereign nation anymore? And also, when you have so many migrants coming across, even if they are good people, that makes it so much easier for bad actors to come across, because Border Patrol is continually pulled away from their stations on the border to process these sheer numbers of individuals who are coming across seeking asylum. So they're pulled away from the border. They can't guard the border anymore, which means it provides so many opportunities for criminals, for drug traffickers, for human smugglers who have ill intent to easily make it across the border.
Quick follow-up question. We're visiting with Virginia Allen from the Daily Signal. Do the folks who live in the border communities that you are at, can they tell a difference between those who come to the country illegally and those who went through the process legally?
I think it is very obvious, because when you have those going through the process legally, they're often, finding jobs in the community, and they're not afraid. For one, they're not afraid to be apprehended, and they're adjusting more easily, I think, into society, and they're paying taxes, versus individuals who either are coming in illegally and claiming asylum, or who don't want to be apprehended, are really just, even if they have the best intentions in mind, they're really creating a state of chaos, not just in border communities, but truly all across the country, because these individuals aren't necessarily staying long-term in those border communities. They're being bused or flown in to the interior of the United States. So, we hear people say it, that every community in America is becoming a border town. Well, it's really true when you have thousands, if not tens of thousands, of illegal migrants ending up in cities across America and just sort of disappearing. And they're not appearing for their asylum hearings, and they're sending their kids to our schools. They're using our medical system, and yet they're not paying for any of that.
In my experience, one of the things I've noticed is that among legal immigrants, they get particularly triggered basically by the idea of people coming in illegally and being able to acquire all these benefits and things like that. Did you experience the same thing when you were talking with people down there?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I got a chance to speak with a couple different illegal migrants outside of a processing center in San Antonio, and it was interesting to kind of hear their logic and their reasoning. I mean, they all said that they were coming to America because they wanted a better life, they wanted more opportunities. But one gentleman, he told me, he said, I know I came illegally, but I'm really glad to be here. And I think that there's this thought process of, if I can just get into the country under the Biden administration, I won't be deported. I'll just get to stay and I'll get to build a life. And what a dangerous narrative, I think, to be sending, for the sovereignty of our nation, to essentially have sent a message to the world that there is no border, but then also for these illegal migrants, because it truly is a really dangerous journey, and many of them are taken advantage of by cartels along the way. I spoke with a sheriff in the sheriff of Valverde County, Sheriff Martinez, and on his desk, it's sobering, on his desk he has a binder that's full of photos of individuals who have been found along the border in his county who passed away and who either drowned in the Rio Grande or who died of heat exhaustion. This is a dangerous trek. And for the Biden administration to just be saying, come on, that is not only a major threat to the people of our country, but to these migrants themselves.
The article at the Daily Signal is called "What I'm Seeing on Texas's Border with Mexico." I just got a minute or so left visiting with Virginia Allen. For the folks who are dealing with the initial brunt of this, what do they want to see changed to fix it?
Yeah. First and foremost, they want to see the border secured. They want to see that Biden administration is not letting anyone and everyone just come across. They want individuals to know that if you come across illegally, you will be deported. And if you're an asylum seeker, that you're going to have to wait outside of the United States for that asylum claim. And over, as I ask individuals, what is your message to the American people? They said, come and see. They say, come and see what is happening here at the southern border. See for yourself what is going on. And of course, we know that most of the Biden administration hasn't done that themselves. They haven't gone to the border to actually look at the situation of what is happening. But, I've been hearing for years about what is happening at the southern border. This was my first trip down there. And honestly, it was incredibly eye-opening to see firsthand, for all intents and purposes, we don't have a border right now, and to see how much of a well-oiled machine illegal immigration has become under the Biden administration and because of the Biden administration's failure to secure the border.
All right, Virginia Allen, dailysignal.com. Look for the article, What I'm Seeing on Texas's Border with Mexico. Virginia, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
And you can also find Virginia on Twitter, Virginia_Allen and the number 5. But we've already tagged her in our Twitter post as well. So check that out. All right, just ahead 4 minutes right now. Let's talk about the other kinds of possibly illegal aliens. Do you even think they're real? We'll talk about that at about 7:50. The guys are looking at me like, what the heck are you talking about, Mike? I'll explain at 7:50, 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
A very serious crash has completely shut down 367 southbound between Dunn Road and 270. You'll have to use an alternate route. And on the northbound side, they've got the left lane closed. A lot of stop-and-go traffic, 55 North Bayless up to Gasconade this morning. That's a 16-minute delay. An 11-minute delay, 64 eastbound Boone's Crossing towards Maryville Center. Then you have the slow pockets at Spady and 170 to Big Bend. 70 eastbound extra heavy Lake St. Louis to Bryan Road due to an earlier crash. Other than that, we've got the normal volume. Northbound 270 pockets, 55 up to Manchester. This report sponsored by Blindster. Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Wednesday at 9:41, Joe Biden, when he's in Puerto Rico, he's Puerto Rican. When he's in front of truck drivers, he's a truck driver. We'll see what else he had to say on Play Me Some Biden.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in-home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Here's a little bit of breaking news. Cori Bush embarrasses the St. Louis region again.
What else is new?
She doubles down on her hatred of law enforcement. We'll talk about that at 8:05. And yes, I have the actual audio clip from her to let you hear directly from the gentlewoman from Missouri. We'll do that 8:05. 8:20. The interesting look into how some, I'm going to use air quotes here, public health officials around the country were dealing with monkeypox.
Monkeypox. Oh no.
What do you think they What do you think they prioritized? Actually getting the information out to everybody in the public in order to try to slow down the spread, or worrying about embarrassing the gay community, particularly the gay men community? Yeah.
I'm going to take a guess.
I know that's a cliffhanger. It's a cliffhanger, but you're going to have to hang on until 8:20. I'll tell you what's going on. And it just shows you that, quote unquote, public health is really just another version of politics. public health officials are just politicians. That's all it is. At this point, no more, no less. And if your cousin works at the Department of Public Health and you tell me, no, they're really there to help protect our health, they're just a political pawn. That's all they are. Sorry.
Didn't used to be, though.
Yeah, your cousin can hate me. I don't care. All right. New poll, new survey has come out. Now, I tried to separate between polls and surveys because political polling is basically nonsense at this point. But interesting surveys come out from time to time. And you can find this one on YouGov. In a new survey now, 57% of Americans, so a clear majority of Americans, believe that aliens probably exist. And I'm not talking about the illegal ones running across the southern border. I mean like spacemen, Martians. What do you want to call them? Extraterrestrials. 57% of Americans now say, yeah, there's probably other civilizations and space aliens out there. Only 1 out of 4, only 25% of Americans say no, doesn't exist.
Well, that 25% is making a big presumption because how would you know?
Well, how do we know that they're there?
Well, that's the thing. I think the way you said it, it said that they probably.
Probably. Yeah. So here it is. Let's see here. 57% of Americans say that aliens definitely or probably exist, compared to 25% who don't believe that aliens exist. 19% of Americans aren't sure. Now, you go back 25 years, and you go back to, 1996. Is that almost 26 years? The similar poll found that only 20% of people believed that there really were aliens out there. So we're talking more than double, almost triple the number and the percentage of Americans who think that there are other beings out there other than us.
I think the release of that UFO footage, I think, helped push this over the edge here. I mean, it had been creeping up, I think, over the years for a good long while. I think as people got a little more used to the idea, kind of got a little more familiar with the math behind it, and said, oh, you know what, that math kind of works out. The universe is a really big place, kind of thing. But at the same time, I kind of fall into I don't know category as opposed to probably yes. I mean, I stand firmly on that fence between those two.
So I absolutely believe.
Maybe?
So it's a definite maybe or not.
Taking ambivalence to a whole nother level there. All right, what do you think, Ed?
I absolutely believe there are other intelligent life out there. I mean, when you consider the billions of stars in in our galaxy alone, and then the hundreds of billions of galaxies that there are around the universe. I mean, unless they can, the problem we're going to have is that they can't get here. The simple fact that they're so far away, they just can't get here. So all these different things that we see flying around in the sky, I'm just not sure, unless they came up with some way to fold space into time and everything. I don't know how they could get here.
What do you think that the spacemen and women, or whatever space genders are?
The space genders.
Got to go there.
Probably like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah. So what do you think they would say if they landed right now and walked off the spacecraft? What do you think that they would say right now? I mean, I could imagine them all looking around and going, $4 for a gallon of gas. I'm out of here. Okay, that's one. What other things would you think they would say?
I think it would be something along the lines of whatever the alien equivalent of a Steve Irwin nature documentary would be. So it's like here we have the humans in their natural habitat. That kind of thing. Because honestly, if you're capable of spanning the vast distances between the stars in order to get here to observe, I imagine you're basically on a nature walk and you're kind of observing things. And I'm not sure you would actually consider us a civilization yet.
So you don't think they'd say like, "Hey, don't mind us. We're just checking everything out before Putin blows everything up"?
Well, if I were them, I would keep my distance and I would watch like a person watching an ant colony. It's like, hey, look, they think they're doing something.
I don't know. They could also walk off and be like, "Why does everything smell like pumpkin spice?" Explain this to us.
Yeah,
that would be.
Oh my gosh, there so many funny observations I think would come from humanity. I was like, I kind of envy the supposed ability of an alien species to be able to kind of view us from an exterior point of view, from a non-human point of view, and just kind of basically have as close to an objective observation of humanity as possible. I wonder what they would think of the way we do things.
I mean, this is campaign season. They could probably say, "We were searching for intelligent life. Sorry to bother you. We'll be on our way now.
we found nothing. Nothing.
We are out of here." Oh man! All right, Cori Bush gets on TV and embarrasses us yet again. I'll let you hear directly from her at 8:04 right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Oh, Hank, what a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Oh no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of three ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a US-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Kanega Watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The White House insisting that President Biden is not considering additional releases of oil from the nation's Strategic Petroleum Reserve, even as OPEC considers throttling back oil production. And it may be a large cut in OPEC's output, coming at a time when gas prices across the U.S. are surging once again. Pump prices up about 2.5 cents since yesterday, with AAA's national average now at $3.83 per gallon. The president's previous releases from the Petroleum Reserve have dropped that emergency reservoir to its lowest level in decades. Russia's leader makes his Ukraine land grab official.
President Vladimir Putin has signed laws absorbing 4 Ukrainian regions into Russia, a move that finalizes the annexation carried out in defiance of international law. Earlier this week, both houses of the Russian parliament ratified treaties making the Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions part of Russia. The formalities followed Kremlin-orchestrated referendums in the 4 regions that Ukraine and the West have rejected as a sham. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The Republican in the closely watched U.S. Senate race in Pennsylvania collected considerable campaign cash in the third quarter.
The $17.2 million marks a big surge for Dr. Oz compared to the second quarter. Even though it includes a $7 million personal loan from the celebrity doctor, the other $10.2 million compares well to the $3.8 million total Oz raised in the second quarter. Most polls show Oz now leading the state's hard left, but popular Democrat Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman in a still very tight race, many observers believe will decide control of the U.S. Senate. Bob Agnew reporting.
Dow futures up 288 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 120. More on these stories, townhall.com.
You know how much you're really paying for life insurance through work? I can almost guarantee you're overpaying for limited coverage. I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent for over 20 years. My clients are shocked to learn how expensive life insurance at work really is because of a rate that's driven up by unhealthy people. Why pay more when you don't have to? For over 35 years, Select Quote has helped people save 50% or more by shopping highly rated insurance carriers. I found a 40-year-old man with high blood pressure, a $500,000 policy for only $18 a month. Don't procrastinate. Workplace open enrollment will be here soon. Let Select Quote save you money and get you the coverage you need to protect your family.
For your free quote in just minutes, call 1-800-865-2266. That's 1-800-865-2266. 1-800-865-2266. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policy and carrier ratings at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Price could vary by health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We are very busy this morning. Eastbound on 70 at 270. A crash is blocking the 3 right lanes. Traffic jammed to 5th Street. That's a 15 to 17 minute delay. 270 northbound before Tesson Ferry. We've got a crash. It's blocking 2 lanes. Fire and EMS on scene. Traffic back to I-55. 367 southbound shut down north of 270. Avoid that area. That's a very serious crash. This report is sponsored by the USA Network and Sci-Fi. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Cool and dry this morning under partly cloudy skies. Definitely going to see an increase in cloud cover today, but the rain chance is very low. It's going to be a warmer day with a high near 80 degrees this afternoon, probably about 79. Down into the 50s tonight as the clouds clear out for tomorrow morning. 79 for the high on Thursday, but a cool front moves through late Thursday and drops that temperature for Friday and the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
The Marshall Tucker Band, the 50th anniversary tour. This Saturday night at 7, the Family Arena. The Marshall Tucker Band. Can't you see? Can't you see? With Pure Fairy League and Atlanta Rhythm Section. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House box office at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. The Marshall Tucker Band, the 50th anniversary tour.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player, John Ford Coley, Walter Egan, and the Babies with Sail On Tour 2022. Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.
Decision 22 News.
Inflation, gas prices.
Decision 22 Analysis.
The things the American people want to hear about.
Decision 22 Opinion.
Same old tired talking points.
In St. Louis, Decision 2022 happens right here. News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Let me start off with an apology, everybody. I'm so sorry to do this to you. I'm about to play a soundbite from Corey Bush.
Why you do this to us?
I know. So she was on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. See, there's a book that is allegedly her memoir, meaning that allegedly she wrote it all herself, that is now for sale. And so she's doing the book tour thing. And so she's on ABC with, like I said, George Stephanopoulos. And he actually asked her about what she is known for the most around the country. Now, we know her as an embarrassment to the region, but she is nationally known. Of course, she thinks that's a good thing. Republicans around the country love the fact that she's an embarrassment to the St. Louis region. But Stephanopoulos asked her about the defund the police thing. And hey, to her credit, she sticks to her guns, and this isn't doubling down. This is tripling, quadrupling, quintupling, sextupling, octatupling.
Yeah, how far are we going to go?
I don't know. Doubling down on the fact that she is basically politically at war with law enforcement in this country.
And you've stuck by it. In fact, you're one of the few Democrats now who still says, let's defund the police. Are you worried at all that could hurt some of your colleagues going into the midterm elections?
See, the thing about defund the police is we have to tell the entire narrative. People hear defund the police, but you know what they'll say? Say reallocate, say divest, say move. But it's still the same thing. We can't get caught up on the words. People spend more time focusing on the word defund than they spend on caring and addressing the problem of police violence in this country.
She is so dumb. So why is she so dumb? And she really just blew up all of her fellow candidates on the Democrat side. Hey, remember, Psaki said in her commentary on the news that crime is basically the major Achilles heel of the Democratic efforts in the elections coming up. And here we have somebody with a major national profile just blowing up everybody's spies. Like, hey, every time you hear a Democrat say reallocate, whatever word she used, we know it's just another way of saying defund, and nobody's on that train anymore.
No. Well, not in an election year.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me when I'm listening to this, because she's essentially pro-criminal.
Yes.
She's a standard product of St. Louis politics and St. Louis activism in the city. And last night here at the radio station, it wasn't a public event, but we had some of our advertisers in, we had some of our initial investors in, we had some folks who were contributors to the station, and we just kind of had a little meet and greet and snacked on some food and all this kind of stuff. And Ann Dorn was here last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I was running with this story today on the program because that audio clip made the rounds last evening. So I knew I was going with this. And I'm talking to Ann. And Ann Dorn, of course, being the widow of Captain David Dorn, who was, brutally murdered by one of the rioters during the George Floyd riots here in St. Louis. Retired police officer, shot to death. Stephen Cannon was already been sentenced to life in prison. He's being sentenced again today for additional charges related to this. So he's, there's no chance that this guy is ever going to get out of prison unless we just completely lose our minds on the judicial process, which is possible in the next generation. But, with talking to Ann about just general law enforcement stuff, she's in full recognition of how much the police are under attack right now, politically speaking, not just physically from criminals. And the thing is that if the left ran on a platform saying we're going to hold police accountable, then we're forced to engage and say, all right, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about how, right?
Right. Let's talk about what that means and how. I want police held accountable.
Me too.
Every good police officer wants police held accountable. That's not what Cori Bush is arguing for. She's arguing for basically starve them of all funding.
Yeah, and remove them from their capability, their ability to do what we pay them to do, and to keep the peace. So it's a really fascinating aspect of it too, is that we would have been, especially as libertarians, if we were just talking about holding government accountable for the overuse of government force.
Right.
We're on your side. It's like we don't like government force when it's out of bounds, right? Yeah. This could have been a bipartisan push to reform various aspects of policing in America. But no, you did this whole, ACAB garbage.
Mm-hmm.
All cops are this, and defund the police, and we have to punch out. We have to push back because you end up with communities in danger like we have here in St. Louis.
I'm trying to parse out and figure out what she means by using different words. Does she mean are they saying that she needs to use different words to hide the defunding idea, or are they saying no, let's use different words and not defund?
Well, what she said is that other Democrats are using other words. They're saying divest, they're saying reallocate, and she just flat out said, she goes, it's all the same thing. It's defund the police. Stop messing around with different words. just defund the police.
So she's not changing her stance on it at all, because I looked it up. I saw all I'm seeing is end funding, decapitalize, withdraw. It's what it means.
The word
it is what
defund
it means.
tests really, really badly for Democrats. I can tell you what's going on here is that these campaigns, the DNCC and all of these, they do surveys, they do focus groups, they test messaging, and defund tests terribly, and it is absolutely hurting the Republicans. So what's happening is,
you mean Democrats?
Democrats. I'm sorry. And so the Democrats are looking at other words and other messaging, but their core beliefs have not changed. Now, not all Democrats want to defund the police. There are plenty of Democrats out there that, recognize that that's insane.
Sure.
But what's going to happen, and what should happen, is that in those districts around the country, Cori Bush saying, suck it up, we need to defund the police, is showing up in ads all over the country in other races around the country. And so that's why I say maybe all Republicans after the election should send Cori Bush a thank you card.
Every Republican should be using that suck it up, defund the police line from her. Right. Every single one of them. And every chance they get, they should be saying, the Democrats, they want to defund the police.
Yeah, and you can easily find a video that's been put together. It's like 5 or 6 minutes of Democratic office holders specifically blatantly saying we need to defund the police. Easy to find. I've seen it a couple times. Literally it's long enough I can't play it here and take up over half of a segment of this, but it's just that being strung together over the past couple of years, and now they're like, well, we weren't actually talking about defund the police, we're talking about other. Well, no. And Cori Bush goes on national television and says, well, they can say these other words, but it's all the same thing. Stop messing around with the words, just defund the police.
Well, here's the new meaning for defund the police. It's like replenish the police. That the defund thing, that means replenish. That's what they'll do. They'll just change the meaning of it.
And so she's obviously trying to hawk a book, and I'm just guessing that the core audience, people who would want to support Cori Bush, I'm just going to guess they're not exactly book readers, memoir readers.
They're not.
I don't think that if you're going to take a break from making Molotov cocktails to read a memoir.
They're not even pamphlet readers.
Antifa isn't going to sit there and go, ooh, let's have a book club, an Antifa book club.
Oh my gosh. I kind of want to see what an Antifa book club would look like.
Yeah.
Be on fire.
Crying out loud.
But mostly peaceful.
Okay, we've had a lot of experience in the last couple of years with public health officials. And we were told, stop questioning them. Their only job is to keep us safe and protect our health. Really? Well, some public health officials who were very quick to shut down lots of things during COVID just in case chose not to tread there when it comes to monkeypox. Anyone want to guess why? Yeah, I'll tell you at 8:20 here on 119 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
It's a very, very busy morning. 270 eastbound at West Florissant, getting word of a crash in the left lane. That traffic is jammed back to New Florissant already. 2 right lanes closed. 270 northbound before Tesson Ferry. That traffic backing up onto I-55. 3 right lanes blocked. 70 eastbound at 270. That traffic at a halt back at 94. Use 370. That's a 35-minute delay. And 367 southbound still shut down due to an accident at Last Look at 270. This report sponsored by USA and Sci-Fi. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michael's Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
The Range St. Louis West is all about safety. That's why training is a critical part of what we do. No one wants to be in a situation where seconds count, but help is minutes away. But if that day comes, are you ready? No matter what your firearm experience level is, we have courses and instructors that can help. The Range St. Louis West is the area's premier training facility, shooting range, and all things firearms retail facility. Check us out online at therangestl.com or stop by and visit with our professional staff. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
Columbo and Katie.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, would you be able to publicly state for the record that Tony Colombo is your favorite Italian on News Talk STL?
Tony, I love you, but you can't hold a candle to your co-host there.
All right, but am I better than Vic at least? I want to just be better than Vic Porcelli.
They want to win your mind and your heart over. That's what they want from you, Mr. Secretary.
Tony Colombo, Katie Fitzpatrick, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here, and many of you know that one of my favorite things to do when I have some free time is to get out on the water and go fishing. And the folks at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton are the people you should see before your next fishing trip. No matter what you're fishing for, they have everything you need, from gear to lures to live bait. Plus, they can even set you up on a guided fishing tour on the Mississippi River. Make sure the tackle box is ready for your next trip by visiting Bluff City Outdoors at 2813 East Broadway in Alton and bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Fox News commentary.
This state will be the first in the nation to implement a mandatory climate change curriculum. And I know what you're thinking, but this time it's not California. I'm Tommy Lahren. Find out next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Booth for Bishop Gold Group. Are you worried about your financial future as retirement gets closer? All over the country, soon-to-be retirees are fearing for their financial future as markets remain volatile. Bishop Gold Group helps you invest in gold and gold IRAs to protect your wealth and retirement during times of high inflation and wild swings in the market. Secure your future today. Contact Bishop Gold Group by dialing pound 250 from a mobile phone and say the keyword Bishop Gold, or visit bishopgoldgroup.com.
Jersey will be the first state to mandate a climate change curriculum for K-12 students and said to be necessary to prepare for the green economy. Perhaps we should get students proficient at reading, writing, and arithmetic before demanding they learn about climate change. But furthermore, this all feels a lot more political than educational. Something tells me this climate change curriculum is more about leftist agenda pushing than actual science. If they want to teach students about the pitfalls of fossil fuels, they should also mention how many Americans rely on fossil fuels and how many well-paying jobs that industry fosters. And if we want to talk about the economic aspect of climate change, I hope these educators will mention canceling the Keystone Pipeline has done nothing to save the environment or lessen emissions, but it has made us more dependent on foreign energy sources. But I'm guessing that part won't be in the textbooks, huh? I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can listen to all of my hot takes at foxnewscommentary.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it is absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
We spend a lot of time questioning, and I'm using air quotes here, public health officials with their political decisions over COVID restrictions and shutdowns, and that was the rage du jour from both sides because it immediately became political, because it became about government control. It became about government managing and running our lives, and we were told, just comply. It's not that hard. Just do it.
As much as I refer to the public science as the white coat mafia, the public health official are really the people that I'm thinking of when I think of those guys.
I think every word that comes out of a public health anything right now should be scrutinized, if not completely discarded, until they can prove that there's something other than political motivations behind it.
Absolutely.
And we're getting further evidence of this. Now, we're looking at California. But we're getting further evidence of this when it comes to, of course, the most recent, so-called public health scare that we're now dealing with,
Monkeypox, monkeypox, oh monkey, 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 monkeypox, monkeypox, oh monkey, 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 monkeypox, monkeypox, oh monkey, 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 monkeypox.
So the folks over at the Heritage Foundation and the Daily Signal, we're getting a lot of stuff from Daily Signal today. Yeah. They decided to do some, what I'm assuming are freedom of information request, and they've gotten a bunch of emails regarding public health and other political officials in California who are looking for, how do we deal with this monkeypox thing? You're thinking, okay, well, is it about necessarily how we just slow down the spread of this? No, not necessarily. What they were really worried about is, how do we not embarrass casual sex and gay men? I literally, and listen, I'm not saying, my guess is most gay men do not go do the bathhouse thing. I'm just guessing. I don't know, but I'm guessing. They're not the ones who are doing this. It is reckless behavior that happens to be 98+% is still the number that we believe is correct. 98% plus of monkeypox cases are spread in some kind of gay group sex situation. So in California, which, just as a reminder, was very quick to shut down coffee shops, schools, businesses, parks, chasing surfers out of the freaking ocean, and churches, because they might have somebody there who has COVID and ordered all of these at the violation of our rights because of what might be. Now, we know what is with monkeypox. We know precisely how it is spread. This is not a new thing. This isn't a novel infection. And they were very careful to say, we've got to watch the messaging. We can't embarrass the gay community. We can't embarrass. No talk of shutting down like a bathhouse. No talk of let's be aggressive with our messaging. Hey, guys, this is affecting your community. Don't do this stuff, because it could be, in their words, stigmatizing. And Gabe, you're looking at some of the emails that were uncovered in this.
This is wild. What's going on here, because they were very open, like in their emails, discussing, okay, here are the venues that I'm tracking,
right?
Based on our targeted audiences of people at higher risk. And guess where they are? Guess who they are that they're talking about? They had multiple messaging pushes, they say, for to help deal with these things, but it was all very much hush hush,
right?
Because they didn't want, like you said, they didn't want the public stigma going out about this whole thing.
And they're putting people in danger just to get a different message across. That the whole virtue signaling thing is making people once again fall into a dangerous position.
And beyond that, it's not even just that, well, we need to be careful not to stigmatize. What it proves is that in 2022, and I'm going to argue back in 2021, 2020, that the idea of public health is about politics. It is about more of a left-wing ideology. It is not actually about public health, because if they were to be consistent back when there were just a few cases of COVID and they had this amazing overreaction, then they would be getting orders to shut down nightclubs, bathhouses, porn shops. They would be passing, ordinances and laws and say you can't have, more than X number of people over at your house like they did with COVID, but they're not doing it because this time the victims are specifically the politically convenient and protected class. It's all about politics. It's all about narrative. They do not want the public going back and looking at gay men in this way. And listen, live however you want, guys. You know, the good advice is don't do this, at least not right now. The reality is that if every single person in that community simply said, I'm not going to do this for 2 months in this country, monkeypox would go away in that time.
It would have been gone back in July, essentially. Matthew Chaco, who was the city of Berkeley's communication director, who was kind of involved in a lot of these discussions, in a message that I believe he wrote, I'm not sure whether it was an email or a text conversation amongst them. He said, the implicit headline I'm afraid of is health officers say gay men will spread monkeypox at Pride weekend. I worry that feeds into sexual shame and stigma in a community that's familiar with being treated that way by straight people.
So which is more worrisome? The shame or a disease, an infection that is absolutely brutal?
By the way, it's very apparent when you have monkeypox.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's, I mean, basically there's sores involved. And often they're on the face, they're on your arms or something like that. Isn't there shame in that, and walking around with that stuff going on?
We know what happened.
We know, and even if we're not sure that that's monkeypox, it looks gross.
I saw a guy at a festival, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't monkeypox, but he's wearing, he was a very big guy, and he was wearing kind of the jean shorts, and I don't know what was all over his like calf muscles, and I'm like, because at the point where I'm like, I'm backing away.
Yeah, it's gross,
and it probably wasn't, but it still had that. So they're more worried about the shame and the stigma than they are saying, guys, protect yourselves, don't do this. They're more worried about the shame and the stigma than being caught going to one of these businesses and saying, hey, think we could work something out where you don't do this for a while? Although I think if you shut down a bathhouse, it will probably go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think, and by the way, I'm going to say, I don't think they should have shut down.
Yeah, I don't think they shut down anything.
I don't believe that the government had a role in doing that. In the same way, they certainly did not have a role in shutting down churches or shutting down schools or shutting down businesses or doing any of that in the name of we're going to protect your public health. I don't think the government has any right to do that. But what we're seeing here is that it was never about health.
No,
because if it were, they would be just as aggressive in saying it's about public health. We need to, protect everybody, and that's not what's happening.
What I would expect from a responsible government system would be guidance provided to the public about what is, how to guard against it.
Absolutely.
And all of the communities that are at risk, here's what to do and what not to do. Of course, you're free to do one thing or the other, but here's what the data is telling us.
But then what happens is that when you say, listen, here's how it's spreading, here's how to protect yourself, you are by default saying this is a disease, this is an infection that is being spread through reckless sexual behavior.
Right.
And that's what they wanted to avoid.
Heaven forbid you you say anything against reckless sexual behavior.
Exactly. Later on, the more of the saga.
Monkeypox, oh monkey, 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 monkeypox, monkeypox, oh monkey, 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 monkeypox, monkeypox, oh monkey, 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 monkeypox.
All right, a couple of historic, I guess, kind of iconic things throughout the St. Louis area. Vandalized, damage. I've got updates on 2 of those just ahead right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
From the NewstalkSTL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasevich. A St. Charles jury recommended the death penalty for Richard Darren Emery for the 2018 murders of his girlfriend, her 2 children, and her mother. The jury deliberated for about 2.5 hours before returning with the sentence. The City of St. Louis Department of Health is hosting 2 new monkeypox vaccine clinics on the 14th and the 15th. So far, there have been 26 confirmed cases in the city and 25 confirmed cases in the county. Tower Grove Park has received a $500,000 grant to refurbish 4 historic Victorian pavilions and is working to raise money to match the grant. The Old Carriage, Humboldt South, Cypress South, and Lily Pond pavilions are expected to be restored. They were all built between 1871 and 1873. A spokesperson for Lambert Airport said they were notified by United Airlines that the planned nonstop flight to San Francisco has been dropped. Lambert said last month that it anticipated that United would be bringing back the San Francisco route early next year. And in sports, the Cardinals beat the Pirates 8-7 in Pittsburgh last night in the 10th inning. Albert Pujols drove in 2 more runs, and reliever Ryan Helsley left in the 8th inning with a jammed right middle finger. The 2 teams play again today in the final game of the regular season. First pitch is at 3:05 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
It's just been a bad morning. 270 eastbound before West Florissant. They're clearing a crash from the left lane. That traffic is backed up to Washington Elizabeth. 270 northbound before Tesson Ferry. A crash still blocking the 3 right lanes. That traffic back to I-55, but the tows are on the scene. 70 eastbound, still major delays. 94 to 270. They're clearing a crash that's down to the right lane there. 367 southbound has been closed much of the morning at Dunn Road. That remains in effect. And Illinois Route 140 closed in both directions at Route 4 due to a bad crash. I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the very latest. This report sponsored by Discover.
They could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card rewards, or they could talk about how with Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
Cool and dry this morning under partly cloudy skies. Definitely going to see an increase in cloud cover today, but the rain chance is very low. It's going to be a warmer day with a high near 80 degrees this afternoon, probably about 79. Down into the 50s tonight as the clouds clear out for tomorrow morning. 79 for the high on Thursday, but a cool front moves through late Thursday and drops that temperature for Friday and the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
For all the women listening right now, I want you to picture a financial advisor. What do you see? It's an old guy in a suit, isn't it? Now, you and your husband, you're meeting with said advisor. Who's he talking to? Him. That's the problem. Deanna Orff of the All Financial Group has seen this failure in the financial industry for years, and she's doing something about it. Join Deanna Tuesday, October 18th for an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's time to talk about your 401k, your business, and your concerns about retirement. 92% of women say they want to know more about financial planning, and this could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event is on October 18th. It's free, but you need to make a reservation today. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services are offered through All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license number 803-9738.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I don't believe the Democrats are stupid, but I think they don't care.
Live and local.
And embarrass himself at that press conference.
He's become kind of clownish, right?
Do you think he's going to run?
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
It's one thing for politicians to pat themselves on the back. Excuse me. Sorry, got a little. There we go. It's one thing for politicians to pat themselves on the back, but a local mayor takes it to a whole new level. I'll tell you about that here in just about 2 minutes. It's 8:37 right now. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here and Ken Williams here. A couple updates on stories before that. We told you about this, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the historic Scott Joplin House in St. Louis. You know, Scott Joplin, father of ragtime jazz music. I mean, you know, big influence in early 1900s music culture throughout the United States. I mean, it was just a big element of jazz. Some idiot broke into the house, the Scott Joplin house, the historic area, climbed upstairs, started smashing stuff, throwing things out the window, and they did arrest him, and now at least we have a name. The guy's name is Kevin Lee Daly Bay, and he's now charged with burglary and property damage. And Brian Stith, who is with the Missouri State Parks Department, he's their deputy director, talked to KMOV, our news partners, about some of the damage that they discovered in the home.
We found a lot of broken furniture, just things thrown about the historic apartment, the offices. There were items thrown out the window.
And you don't get that stuff back. You can file your insurance claim and get some compensation for it, but you can't get that stuff back. So this guy, and I have no idea what his issue was, what his problem was, he just smashed up irreplaceable archives.
I really can't stand it. I mean, and we talked about this a little earlier with the gravesite desecration,
which
as
I'll
well.
get to in a second.
Sorry,
here.
yeah, and we'll revisit that. But just the people who want to just destroy things. You know, how did they put it in the Dark Knight?
Right.
Some men just want to watch the world burn. I don't understand that mentality.
Right. Well, and related to that, in Hillsdale, the Greenwood Cemetery, you know, which is, you know, historically this is a cemetery for black people going back literally into the 1800s. I mean, 1876 is when the cemetery was open. Nobody has been buried there since 1993. So this is a historic cemetery.
Just being preserved at this point.
Just being preserved. And so a couple of teenagers went out this week and set fire to benches, kicked over gravestones, smashed up stuff, and they've been caught and they've been arrested. I don't know what their specific ages are, but they did a lot of damage. And I have no idea if the teenagers are white. I have no idea if they're black. Usually when something like this happens, they're probably not thinking this is a black cemetery. I'm going to go do something racially motivated. It's probably just stupid teenagers being stupid teenagers.
How would they even know?
Right. But it has the added insult of being something that, you know, literally former slaves are buried in. Dred Scott's wife is buried there. You know, Civil War veterans are buried there. I don't know which cemeteries headstones were knocked over and which weren't, but there's no point to it whatsoever. So a lot of damage was done. And if you do want to help, if this irritates you the way it irritates me, you can go to greenwoodstl.org, which is the website for the cemetery. So it's a historic preservation entity now is what it is, just preserving the history of that cemetery. And it's going to cost them thousands of dollars to fix this stuff up and try to repair what they can and replace what they can. And so if you want to donate to that nonprofit, you can do it that way. Okay, so let me get to this. I mentioned this a minute ago. Elliot Davis over at Channel 2. I love his reports. I just really love when he does the It's Your Money.
Oh, you paid for it?
You paid for it.
Yes.
So he goes up to Jennings. And there's a couple of controversies going on in the city of Jennings, and some of these are ones that every city has at one point or another. City Hall in Jennings, there are some people who want to build a new big, city hall, an actual city hall building. $14 million. There's a lot of residents saying, "Hey, look around Jennings. this isn't a fancy part of town. There's a lot of people struggling. It's not an affluent area. And that money could be used for a lot of other things. If you're going to pass a tax and you're going to spend $14 million, a lot of other ways to do it. Well, that's a fair debate. Every city has it. There is a place for a functioning city hall.
Yeah.
The city hall in Richmond Heights where I live is also the courthouse. It's also the police department, as well. It's also the fire department. They're all they're all built in there together, right there, right off of the highway in Big Bend.
Government needs infrastructure.
Right. And so you've got to have offices for the people who, make your government run. So that's not a big deal. They have a city hall. It's a very modest building. Looks like it was an old 1950s, dentist building or something like that. And so there's other people saying, hey, just renovate that. Okay, that's a fair debate. There's nothing wrong with that debate. But they're saying, why are you spending money recklessly? And Elliot Davis, I'm serious, go to Fox 2's website and you'll see the video. The current mayor.
That's an important detail.
Yes, she is still in office right now. Her name is Yolanda Austin. And under her tenure in one of the city parks, the city spent $13,000 to honor her with a monument at the city park, and she's still in office. So there's a monument that literally reads, first of all, it's got an etched photograph of her on this $13,000 monument. And it says, Honorable Yolanda Austin Basketball Court, August 26, 2019. And then it has a quote from her. Motivational quote, guys. Get ready to be motivated.
Okay, let's go.
You can do it if you try hard. Mayor Yolanda Austin. So $13,000 of public money was spent to honor the mayor who's still in office. And by the way, the website of Jennings, I looked it up. They actually have a link to her campaign Facebook page on the city's website.
Oh, no. Isn't that a violation?
Probably.
I'm not sure you can do that.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by her slogan as much as I would be if she would have put down there,
hey, look.
Just do it.
Look, yeah, exactly. Look, hey, it isn't you can do it if you try. It's you can do it if you try hard.
She might as well
Yolanda.
She might as well have said, you go, girl.
Yeah.
I mean,
they named the basketball court after her. That's basically what this plaque is doing. They named the basketball court after her. Did she buy it?
No, city bought it.
Right.
The city spent $13,000+.
No, I mean the basketball court itself.
Well, it's on the city park.
So it's pre-existing. Like she didn't pay. You know what I mean?
Well, when they built it, it's a fairly new basketball court.
Okay.
But so when they built it, they named the basketball court in honor of her, and then spent $13,000, which probably is close to the price of the basketball court.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Basketball. It looks like it's a really nice court, so maybe it's more than that. But to be on the city, overseeing the city government, and saying, you know what we should do is we should build a monument to I don't know, me.
You signed the proposal for this, and basically the final check, and yeah, I think I should be honored by this plaque.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess at least she has a high opinion of herself. I suppose. I mean, is that all right?
I love that part in the story. If you go to Fox 2's story on this, Elliot Davis's. And he says, I reached out to the mayor and left her a message. I haven't heard back. Yeah, thank you. And he knew I suspect he knew he was not getting a call back on that. But, I mean, it's like there are some cities that have like their walks of fame.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I've seen some cities do that.
Some cities do that. There was one, and I'm not going to name a name because this is a pretty high-profile person who bragged about his walk of fame in his city, major city in the United States. And so I was flying or driving around his city in the taxi or Uber, whatever driver. I said, hey, you familiar with this guy? He's a friend of mine. You ever heard of him? He was like, no, never heard of him. I said, well, he says he's got a star on your city's Walk of Fame. And he goes, yeah, but that just costs a certain amount of money. Anybody can have that. Oh, that's how that works.
So it's just a matter of money.
Yeah.
And so in this case, it's a matter of taxpayer money.
Yeah, as long as it's not your money.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Oh, my goodness.
You can do it if you try hard.
314-912-1019. Okay, just ahead here, we're getting news now coming out of, another part of the world. Bad news when it comes to gas prices. The other part of the bad news when it comes to gas prices is that Joe Biden's president right now. We'll talk about it just ahead, right around 8:49 on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Still very busy. Delays on 70 eastbound from 94 to 270. They're clearing a crash from the right lane. Illinois Route 140 is shut down at Route 4. This is a very serious crash. Estimated clearance time on it is 10:30 this morning. 270 eastbound still busy approaching West Florissant. They're clearing an incident from the left lane. The news is a little bit better. 367 southbound had been shut down much of the morning between Dunn Road and 270, but now they are getting one lane through. Just be prepared to stop. Their support sponsored by USA and Sci-Fi. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Columbo and Katie.
New York Governor Hochul said a federal solution is needed to address an influx of migrants being bussed into the state. We'll talk about this on Columbo and Katie and catch up with Mark Close.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link. Your smile is your number one asset.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life.
If you are missing one or more teeth or suffer from loose dentures, mini dental implants might be the solution for you. I have placed mini implants with amazing results. Mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Let me give you your self-confidence back and give you the ability to eat the foods that you love to eat, but that you simply can't at this point. Plus, best of all, the cost to you is much less than with older, more traditional dental implants.
It made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. Just want to say thank you.
We are here to help you at the Dental Link.
Call Dr. Alan Link today at 314-794-6464 to schedule your free consultation. Offices in Baldwin and Melville. That's the Dental Link at 314-794-6464.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
The Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again.
News, analysis, opinion.
Inflation, gas prices, fuel, it's all up.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Well, the news is just coming out of OPEC, or OPEC Plus right now, is that they have come to the conclusion to reduce oil production worldwide by 2 million barrels a day.
Just a little bit, a little dent.
This is big. Now, gas prices were already creeping back up, if you hadn't already noticed. But this is eventually going to contribute to higher gas prices, which are already on the way up. But let's not try to say that domestic policy isn't the reason we're paying more right now.
Well, the keys have been handed over to the OPEC for the oil supply. The complete supply is in their hands.
Well, it shouldn't be. We got oil here.
Well,
we're floating on it right
now. It
now.
was given to them. The keys were handed over to them.
Yes,
there you go.
yes.
There you go.
Slid under the door
now,
of the White House.
As gas prices were going up, and as a matter of fact, I looked up the averages of the different gas prices around the country, around Illinois, around Missouri, and came up with some numbers. And just for fun, I decided to look at what was the average gas price as of January of 2021 when Joe Biden became president. And basically we're looking at it's still about $1.50 more than it was now. It's $1.50 more now than it was when he first got into office. And obviously we know that his policies really directly created most of that problem. And I am flipping through because I stuffed my numbers in this big pile of papers right here. So that's what I'm doing, just to be really honest with you.
Okay.
And so what's happening here right now in Missouri and Illinois, the gas prices have gone up from the last couple of days.
Yeah, they've been creeping up across the nation just because of, just seasonal changes. I was predicting that we were going to experience a seasonal upsurge in gas prices a long time ago. Even when people were celebrating, or the Biden administration was celebrating the small downturn during the summer. I was like, this isn't it. This is not going to last.
In a true free market, even with normal inflation, we would be over $2 a gallon in gas. It would be higher than it was at the beginning. It would be higher, but it would not be where it's at right now. The average price of gas in Illinois is $4.33 a gallon. In Missouri, it is $3.40 a gallon. Nationally, the average price is $3.83 a gallon. January 2021, it was $2.39 a gallon.
We're going to crack $4 again. Very soon,
without a doubt. And so Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about this at the White House because remember, they made a really big deal out of, like Gabe just said, that 50 cent, 60, 70 cent decrease over the course of about 5-6 weeks after it had gone up $3-4. In some cases, it had gone up $7 if you're on the West Coast.
Oh, it's $4.90 in Afton.
Yeah. And in California, it was $8 or $9.
Yeah.
So Peter Ducey asked her about this, and yes, he's asking a gotcha question, but it is a fair gotcha question. And then I'm just going to let the tape roll with Karine Jean-Pierre trying to make sense of an answer.
The president was responsible for gas prices coming down. Is the president responsible for gas prices going up?
So it's a lot more nuanced than that, right? Peter, you know this. There have been global challenges that we have dealt with. When I say all, meaning other countries as well, have dealt with since the pandemic. There's been pandemic and there's been Putin's war. And Putin's war has increase gas prices at the pump. We have seen that over the past several months. And what the president was able to do, he took some historic steps when you think about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and making sure that we were able to do everything that we can to bring that cost down for American families, give them a little bit more of a breathing room. And we saw that. We saw that every day this summer, saving American families over $1 per gallon. And so that is what the president's going to continue to stay focused on, to our American consumers. How do we continue to keep prices down? That's why we did the Inflation Reduction Act. That's why we talk about the CHIPS Act. All of these things are going to help.
Ow.
Head desk. Sorry. Oh, wow. That was amazing. Basically, she went a very long way to say, well, the one thing we were able to, we felt comfortable doing gave us temporary relief. And it was only temporary. Stop hurting me with your questions.
Sometimes I try to concentrate when she's talking on what she's saying, and I always lose it. I always lose track of where she's going because she never answers the question.
Oh, yeah. She's just.
Now that you say that, it is kind of easy just to kind of float away.
I did just now. I was like, wait a minute, where am I?
Because she's kind of aimless. It's kind of like smoking that stuff you smoked in college.
There you go.
It's kind of.
Yeah. It's a political Jedi mind trick, basically. It's like, this isn't the answer you're looking for.
The wave of the hand.
The wave of the hand. This isn't the answer you're looking for.
Like the wax on.
Inflation Reduction Act.
Oh.
CHIPS Act.
Right. Oh, yeah,
what does the CHIPS Act have to do with prices at the gas pump? But microchip.
Where was I? What was I asking? What was the question? I don't know.
You don't want to ask any question.
Okay, I'm done.
Oh, so now with this news, though, so they're going to continue to blame Vladimir Putin, and they're going to continue now to blame OPEC for reducing the supply, and not taking into account that, first of all, a strong president would have more leverage over this. Secondly, Putin's war, as they keep putting it, came way after our gas prices were spiking. And they keep looking at, well, here's the spike, and here's a little bit down from the spike, but still way up from where we took over. But see how we're keeping prices down.
Well, it's very much a heads I win, tails you lose sort of thing with Democrats. So they always, when the prices go down, we did it. When the prices go up, somebody else did.
Trump did it.
Yeah, Trump, Putin, whoever the evil person of the day is, they did something bad, and now we're in dire straits. So and we can't do anything about it. I'm sorry.
No, wait a minute. The hurricane did it. So DeSantis actually did it.
Well, yeah. See, the highest Republican in office is the problem.
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter what the situation is. The highest Republican in office is the problem. Yeah. And in this case, they consider Putin a Republican.
Right, like they did in the dossier and all that.
Oh, for God's sake! All right, just ahead here, we've got the Vic Porcelli show coming your way at 9:04 ish. Cardinals playoffs starts at Busch Stadium on Friday. I have not seen what time that game is going to be played yet. Philadelphia Phillies are in town. Cardinals have home game advantage in that initial series. Winner goes on to play the Atlanta Braves. So a lot of exciting stuff happening with the Cardinals. We'll keep you updated on that right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000.